Right, folks, this is a new podcast from the two Mikes, and I'm going to give you old energy boy, MG, to introduce it.
Yeah, we've edited out all the nonsense from Mike Porky Parry, so it might be a bit shorter than usual.
Ha, 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 ha. Look at the light! I take my shirt off in front of the kids and say, look at me, aren't I ugly? Aren't I fat and flabby? If you want to look like me, keep eating 4 packets of crisps a day. Have a pizza after school, and you will look like me.
Yeah. This is TalkSport Extra Time. It's a big night for Bournemouth, a very big night for the two Mikes as well. And time to say a very good morning to Mr. Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
Yeah, very good morning, Mike. Good to be here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's a good morning or not in terms of my position within the world at the moment.
Oh, really?
Because, of course, I vowed to jump off Bournemouth Pier.
You certainly did.
Which the local authorities are going to try and stop me doing.
Why?
So it might have to be an illegal operation.
I don't know if we can do that.
There are, in fact, signs up and down Bournemouth Pier. I've had my spies down there today, actually, ahead of the game, saying you cannot jump off this pier and all this kind of stuff, and you certain parts of it you can't fish off and all that kind of stuff.
Now, you'll be pleased to know that there's been, I'm not exaggerating when I say there must have been 300 or 400 tweets, maybe more, I haven't counted them, but there's been non-stop since even before the game started.
I know.
Lots and lots of ideas for you, lots of different suggestions for you. We've certainly got one suggestion from, I think it's Rosie, who said that there's a smaller a pier or sort of place that you could jump off a little bit further down. You might know it. Boscombe, yeah.
Yeah, I know Boscombe. Yeah. Boscombe's where they've got that false shelf underneath the water to try and make the wave that never happened.
So maybe you could do it there.
Maybe I could do it there. I do like one here, and I can't remember who it came from, but thanks for whoever sent it in. It's Malcolm, and he says, I've come up with a word for when someone makes a huge promise and then slowly backs out of them. Yeah. It's called parry-mandering.
That's a good one.
Which I think is very good indeed.
That is a good one, but that's not your intention, is it?
Oh, no. My intention is to do it. But, I mean, the problem is people keep putting barriers in my way. For instance, local authorities say you can't jump off the pier. Yeah. My doctor's, of course, very concerned about the effect on my heart.
Could you not have a medical team sort of in attendance?
I might have to, but I mean, remember, Mike, only 1/3 of my heart works.
Have a 1/3 defibrillator.
Defibrillator, something like that. Two things could happen.
You might not be able to use a full defibrillator because it might damage the heart even more.
Yeah, that's true. One, the shock of hitting the cold water could be contentious.
Well, you do it later in the season when it's warmer.
To the heart. No, I think I'll do it as soon as possible. Secondly, the impact, the force, the smack onto the water. Because, jumping into water from that height, it's like jumping onto concrete, really. You've got to be a very brave man to do it. Yeah. And I have to get my technique right.
Have you worked out the height yet of it? Because there's a lot of pictures of people jumping off piers and things. And even a video of some kids jumping off Brighton Pier, actually, a bit earlier. It is. I mean, I've been out on Brighton Pier. I've been out on Bournemouth Pier. It is high.
Oh, yeah, no bombing, you see, as well. The signs all over the place.
It's quite rough as well.
Down in Portsmouth, where I live, in Old Portsmouth, kids are jumping off the walls there to see all the time. And I cringe every time I see them, draw their knees up to the chest. And I think, crikey, I hope that was enough water there not to smack your back and all that kind of stuff.
As long as it's deep enough as well, you can work that out. But, I mean, you could wear a wetsuit. I mean, I know you were talking about wearing a duck suit. I don't think you need to do that, but you wear a wetsuit.
No, I wear a duck suit.
And that would protect you.
Now, the other thing, of course, is my old mum, she's a fine woman, and she's healthy and fit and all that. She was of a certain age, and thought of her son throwing himself off her pier has not exactly enamoured myself to her.
I can help you with that. I'll have a chat with your mother, and I'm very good at convincing people to do things.
Okay,
and allow things to go ahead.
Now, there is one way out of this. There is one way out.
Why are you looking for a way out?
I'm not looking for a way out. I'm looking for a way to fulfil my obligation. Yeah. And that is...
Well, the Boscombe sort of situation is a possibility.
Well, Boscombe's a possibility, but the other possibility is that there is, in fact, a tripwire that goes down onto the Bournemouth Pier from some elevated height above, and...
Oh, yes, I've heard about this. Yeah, it's like the thing Boris Johnson got stuck on.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
A zip wire, isn't it?
Zip wire. What did I say? A tripwire.
Yeah.
No, tripwire is something you trip over.
Yeah.
A zip wire, and that takes you down, I think, into the sea.
Does that take you into the sea?
I think so, yeah. And if that's the case...
That might be a more gentle approach.
If that's the case, I might do that in the old duck suit and all that. Whatever, I want to say...
Well, I'm saying now that I think, there's enough people interested in it. I mean, talking about, coming down and watching it from different parts of the country.
Yes.
You set up a couple of grandstands. I mean, there literally would be a demand for it.
Well, I'm not averse to doing it. I want to do it. I want to fulfil my obligation. Yeah. But first of all, let me say congratulations to Bournemouth for getting the promotion, which, of course, they're now certain to get.
Yeah. I like Charlton's attitude, by the way. I think that's quite funny.
I think it's very good indeed. And, some fan came on before and said, we're going to Goodison, we're going to Old Trafford, that's all fantastic.
Tom Latcham,
Tom Latcham, that's right. The thing I think will be the difficulty will be away fans trying to get into Bournemouth Stadium.
Yes.
Because if they've got any commercial sense at all, which they have, they're very well run, aren't they, by a Russian millionaire, billionaire, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And a very astute local chairman.
And Maxim Demin.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. I wouldn't blame them if they made 12,000 of the 14,000 seats they have in the stadium season ticket holders, because then they get a huge wardrobe.
I presume there's no real reason why they couldn't do that if they wanted to.
The only reason is that they've got to have the agreed number of seats for for travelling fans.
Yeah, but
which I think is 8%?
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm asking you. Is
it 5%?
Is there a required amount? Because the thing I've been surprised about, and I was saying this the other day, is that if you want to play in Europe, UEFA have a set of rules which say you must have a certain number of seats in the stadium. Yeah. The stadium must be.
Yeah, I think it's 5%, because I remember when we went to the Emirates, which is a 60,000 seater stadium. There were 3,000 Everton fans. Right. I think it's 5%.
Okay, all right.
I think you have to give over 5%.
Well, I think having heard people down in Bournemouth talking about it, I think it's around about 1,200 fans that they would be able to accommodate.
Yeah, that's right, to accommodate. So on the 14,000 seater stadium, the rest will all be, I suppose, season ticket holders. And the only difference to that is they've got to work out the season tickets properly, because they will have Class A, B and C games, gold, bronze, silver.
Yeah.
No disrespect to sort of Crystal Palace going there. They won't be put in the same category as Manchester United or Arsenal or Chelsea for obvious reasons. And so there'll be a variance on the prices.
Will you be aiming to go and see the Everton-Bournemouth game while you're down there?
I'd love to, but I'm not going to pull rank and say, I must go. I mean, somebody might invite me into the director's box or something like that.
That's what normally happens.
No.
Well, if you've made, one of your minions has made an approach.
No. Usually some local person who's wealthy and's got a box would normally invite me in there to entertain them before and after the game.
Is that right?
In fact, you may be able to come down with me. Well, the very same sort of thing. For the Everton game. But we'll have to see. I mean, I suppose it depends on how I fulfil my obligation to jump off the pier. If I survive jumping off the pier as well.
Well, it sounds to me like the zip wire might be the way to go. Because
zip wire could be the way to go.
If the pier does prove to be difficult,
yes,
and I can understand the reasons that you've given. I think they're all valid reasons.
Yes.
But I wouldn't want anyone to say that
I'm not pulling out of it.
Parry-mandered the whole thing.
No, I'm not pulling out of it at all. I mean, I fulfil my obligations and always have done. I can tell you something. I do not turn away from terror or trouble or adversity.
No, I mean, you've been shot at by the Americans, right?
Yes, bombed by the Americans.
Shot at in Northern Ireland repeatedly.
Yes. Dodged petrol bombs down the Lower Falls Road.
Incredible that nobody's ever hit you, really, in many ways.
It is incredible. People have never hit me. Now, that was one sporting event this evening. The big sporting event over the weekend, of course, was the London Marathon. Yes. A lot of people making an awful lot of fuss about their involvement in it, you know what I mean?
Well, the London Marathon is a great occasion.
Of course it is.
I used to be one of those who thought, I really hate marathons. I really hate them. But a couple of years ago, because they run right past my house in London.
Right.
And I had the kids with me, and we went and watched it. It was a fantastic experience, I have to say.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah.
I'm never going to run it.
Now, the point is, I think it was Paula Radcliffe's last one, wasn't it?
It was indeed.
That's
I don't know if it's her last one.
Yes, it was. It was.
Did she not say that she might still kind of... It was her last one where she thought she might actually get a time.
I think she's retired. But anyway, just to show you that when I did a marathon, of course, and I'm showing you this picture now, what are you laughing at?
Let me see this.
It's a picture of myself, Paula
Steve
Radcliffe,
McLaren?
and Steve McLaren, who was then England manager, greeted me at the line. How about that?
That's extraordinary.
Just as I came across the line, they were both waiting there.
You've got a pathetic look on your face.
No, I haven't got a pathetic look on my face. I've just done 13 miles.
You look as if somebody's just raised you from the dead.
No. I mean, remember, only 1/3 of my heart works. And when you've walked 13 miles... And
did only 1/3 of it work then as well?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
number 1052, is that where you came?
No, that's because we were doing 10:53 and 10:52. Andy Townsend had 10:53, and I had 10:52.
Oh, right, okay. Maybe it is 10:53. I can't see the bottom.
10:53. That's right.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Andy had 10:89, and I had 10:53.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, pretty smart, eh?
Very good. Well, I'll take a picture of this and send it out.
Yeah, I think you should.
What's Steve McLaren doing there?
Well, he was the England manager, and he's a local boy, isn't he? He's from the northeast. You know what I mean? And this was actually in. The finish was in south of the Tyne, like South Shields.
Right, okay.
And,
was it Gateshead or something like that?
No, South Shields. Okay. South Shields.
And the time, by the way.
Yeah, well, don't worry about the time. You fixate about the time, honestly. I'm going to get your clock that goes backwards, because that way you might get some content into our show without you whinging.
Content? Oh, really?
Yes.
Have you been reading a big book over the weekend?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, absolutely.
Steady on. Now,
quite.
This is the first time you've ever produced a photograph that you've said, you haven't even said you were going to bring in, so this is a massively red letter day for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because normally speaking, you say, I've got a great picture of me and Paula Radcliffe. No, we never see it.
Yeah, well, I have.
Like Joe Collins and, Bill Clinton and all these other pictures.
Well, considering that you say I never bring you any pictures, I want you to take a picture of that one and show it to our listeners.
Because I can't believe the expression on your face. It looks like you've just achieved a miracle or something.
Yeah,
anyway,
I probably have. I've achieved a miracle. I walked 13 miles with 1/3 of my heart working.
I'm very proud of you for
miracle status.
For not backing out of the Bournemouth scenario.
I'm not backing
this
out.
is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. More coming up. separate time. We are the two mics.
Why are we playing a bit of the old Stones?
Well, it's
Joe?
Jumping Jack Flash, isn't it?
Jumping.
You see, there's going to be a lot of references to jumping coming up.
That's pretty clever.
There'll be lots of people very, very heartened because an awful lot of the tweets, and as I said, there's been an incredible amount of them.
Yes.
Have been. We really hope that the two mics are not going to lose their crcredibility.
No.
Porky pulled out.
No.
To which I said I wasn't aware that we actually had any credibility.
No.
That's another story.
No. I assure you, I will do it. I've got to, you see, because I have local pride.
Yeah.
My sister and my mother both live in Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Sister lives
Well,
in
has your
Camford,
sister said anything about this? Has she
Hills
said whether she's in favour or against?
Well,
or she's embarrassed?
She hasn't really sort of picked up on it just yet.
She might be a bit embarrassed if you go down there and make a bit of an exhibition of yourself.
Yeah, she might be. I got a call from one of the papers today, and I'm hoping to. Well,
what, down in Bournemouth?
Yes, so I must defend the honour of the family.
Yeah, a couple of friends of mine have ended up down there lecturing in the journalism school.
Oh, really?
Well,
yes.
You should go down and do a course.
Well, I know where. I know exactly
how
where.
to emerge with rat-like cunning from your degree.
Absolutely,
and become a seriously successful tabloid hack.
Sorry, what are you laughing at?
Well,
I mean, find this so amusing.
I'm assuming that this week...
What are you denigrating my career for? I have an outstanding career.
You're the one that described yourself as having rat-like cunning.
I have got rat-like cunning. That's what I used all my life to get, one over my fellow hacks who were usually left in my blazing trail.
Yeah, I know. That's what
and couldn't keep up with me.
But you could teach this kind of thing. But I mean, I presume this week we'll be continuing with Parry's continuing criminal confessions.
No. Well,
of
actually,
various crimes that you've committed over the time.
Funny you should say that. I thought a crime had been committed against me at lunchtime.
Did you?
It's rather embarrassing. Yeah.
Right.
I went for a walk across the old downs, as I do at the start of the week to refreshen my body.
Of course.
Just in case there was any excess yesterday. You know what I mean?
Is that a German word?
With Everton, hey?
Refreshen.
Yes, refreshen.
Refreshen.
Yeah. Refreshen.
That sounds like a German word.
Freshen up.
How about refresh?
Refresh.
Not refreshing.
Listen, you know what I'm talking about, you idiot. I'm a master of the English language. Anyway, so I go into
this... We have to come up with a quiz subject for this week, by the way.
Oh, I've already decided.
Oh, have you?
Henry VIII.
Have we not done Henry VIII?
No, we've never done Henry VIII, and he's the founder of my school. I'm certain.
All right.
Because I thought, no, we couldn't have done, otherwise you'd have asked me for the list of his 6 wives, which I could name now, actually, if you wanted me to.
Well, maybe that won't be one of the questions.
Well, exactly. Oh, I'm being told that we have done Henry VIII.
Well, I'm pretty sure we have. I don't know.
Forget
I'm
it
not sure.
I will find somebody else, don't worry.
I don't mind giving you another quiz on Henry VIII.
No.
In fact, I'm quite happy to give you the quiz that you cheated on and see how you do.
No. There's no cheating. We're not getting into that now.
No, of course not. No. That's all in the past.
By the way, I saw the last episode of Poldark. Oh my God!
First of all, I know you tweeted this out.
God.
You tweeted this out the other yesterday or today, rather. Yeah. And first of all, it's not Porky Vision night, right? Porky Vision night is Wednesday night.
But I've got to tell people it can't hold till whenever Porky Vision night is. It just can't. It's so sad.
Why is it sad?
It's so terribly sad.
Also, a lot of people haven't seen it yet either.
Well, they'll have to just see it because the little baby dies.
Well, don't say that.
Well, hang on.
Sake.
What
Can we have the siren, please?
What are you on about?
Can we have the siren? We need the siren to drown him out.
And in the end, Poldark gets hauled off to Nick. Oh, believe me.
Don't tell us.
Well, anyway, look, I'll tell you more about that on Porky Vision. But anyway, I was going to tell you about this crime thing that happened today, except it wasn't a crime, actually.
No, yeah.
I just got confused. I don't know why. Perhaps my head was slightly full of...
befuddled.
Fresh air, because I'd been walking over the downs. So I get into...
too much oxygen.
Maybe. I get into a hostelry.
Yeah.
Where I have some lunch,
Yeah.
And...
Is there Wetherspoons?
No, it's not. No. It's very up marketplace, actually. Yeah, very nice place. Yeah, in Stockbroker Belt territory.
Very nice.
And anyway, I get up from my table and I go and buy a pint of beer.
So you go in and you get a table first. Is that what you do?
Yeah, I go and get a table. And sit
normally I'll go into a bar and I'll order a drink and then look for a table.
No, I've already done that. But then I sat down, right, and then I'd ordered some food and I wanted another pint.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I get up and I'm a very, very caring customer. I always take my pint to the bar, my pint glass. I never leave them on dirty tables. Even when I leave, I take everything back to the bar. You've seen me do that, actually.
I have.
In hostelries we've been in.
But sometimes you need to leave a little bit of beer in the glass at the table, otherwise somebody takes the table, don't they?
No, because I've usually got some papers on it. I put my glasses on it. I make sure people know I'm there. You know, I take a scarf sometimes just for effect and leave that wrapped around my chair. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And this sort of thing.
Why don't you try taking somebody with you who can actually sit there with you, and they could occupy the table?
Because they get on my nerves while I'm trying to, eat and read a newspaper or something like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I go and get this pint of beer, and then take it back to the table, and then I need to go upstairs to visit the loo, for an ablution moment. You know what I mean?
Check the soap as well.
Check the soap. Yeah, I do check the soap. I do. If there's no soap in those bathrooms, I come down and say, you are breaking the health and safety rules and I want some soap. But anyway, that didn't happen. So I came down, I went back to my table, my pint of beer had gone.
Really?
And I thought, no, that's a bit odd.
And you hadn't really taken much out of it. So it was almost a full glass.
It was a full glass.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's really funny, because everybody knows this table's occupied.
Yeah.
There's cutlery on it, they brought me and I ordered my food and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
So I called the manager over and I said, excuse me, for some unknown reason, somebody's removed the beer from my table.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm sorry, sir, what do you mean? I said, I bought a pint of beer before I went upstairs. It's not here, and,
Right.
it was here. So one of your waiters, one of your barmen must have taken it. He said, nobody's taken it away. So in that case, it's been stolen.
Yeah.
I want to report a pint of beer being stolen. No, I said, and I
You
started...
can't report a pint of beer
I did.
being
I started
stolen.
looking around, and I said, look, there's beer on a few of these tables. Somebody's come over and nicked my beer
Yeah.
while I've been in the loo.
Right.
When I'm upstairs to the loo.
You weren't gone a particularly long time,
I was gone 2 minutes or something like that. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Okay.
And he said, no.
And everything else was still on the table?
Everything else was still on the table,
Yeah.
including, actually, funny enough, my mobile phone, which I don't
You
normally
left that
leave
on the
lying around. Yeah, but
Well, you must have been befuddled.
But I had. Anyway, so I started saying, I think there's a beer thief around and all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, the bar manager came over and he said, Mr. Parry, isn't it? He said, yeah, look, just come with me. And I went to the bar and he said, you see that pint of beer on the bar? I said, yes. We think that's your pint of beer. I said, what do you mean?
Well, you think you left it on the bar?
Yeah, he said, you ordered that, and then you said to the barman, can I leave this here for a moment, please? I'm just nipping up for a leak. And then when you came down, you walked straight past it and
This
came
is
and
the first
sat down.
sign of madness, this,
Well, then I said, is that right? And he said, yeah. I said, oh. I said, well, in that case, I'm extremely sorry for raising the hue and cry.
Right.
And clearly, I've got other things on my mind at the moment, but thank you very much indeed. So I was slightly embarrassed about that, actually.
Yeah, well, you have to be another place you can't go back to for
Do you know what I ordered with my lunch today as well?
What did you have? What did you have for lunch, first of all?
I had
a lot of people-
steak kidney pie.
Because a lot of people have been asking to have a rundown of your kind of culinary delights over
Steak
the course
kidney
of the weekend.
pie. Steak kidney pie.
with mashed potato or chips?
Steak kidney pie with boiled potatoes.
Boiled potatoes?
Yeah, but what
Vegetables?
Well, this is what I'm about to tell you. What
right.
I insisted on having, because I've been reading up on nutrition over the weekend, was a double helping of broccoli.
Oh, yeah, broccoli's good for you, yeah.
Broccoli has become the new super veg.
Yeah.
It can protect you from everything.
It's
everything.
a very, very good thing to eat, broccoli.
Yeah, exactly. And I find it...
How was it cooked?
It was steamed.
Steamed, there you go.
By the taste of it. By the taste of it, it was steamed. The other thing that I found out over the weekend, examining food fluctuations, food moods, is what they're going to introduce in this country soon is something called bone broth.
Bone broth?
Yeah, from America.
Oh, yeah.
It's soup made entirely from boiling up the bones of the animals and not the meat.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could do that as a base for soup, but you wouldn't just want to do that just on its own.
There's a takeaway shop...
Put some mince in it.
No. Why are you laughing?
Because I still haven't got over you putting mince in your pea and ham soup.
What's wrong with that? What's that? It just enriches it.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
It must be all scummy on the top.
No.
Doesn't the fat float to the top?
No, I get rid of the fat before I put the mince in the soup.
How'd you do that?
Drain it off.
Well, so you cook the mince first?
Yes, I do. Yeah, cook the mince first.
So you cook the mince and then put it in the soup?
I actually fry the mince as though I was making the spaghetti bolognese, because I prefer it that way. And then I drain the fat off, and then I put it in the soup.
Really?
What's wrong with that?
Well, it's just ridiculous. You don't mean mince soup. It's just ludicrous.
No, it's not. It's like a broth. It makes it better.
No.
I put all sorts of things in. I told you I chopped up ham and put that in.
Yeah, I know.
I chop up tomatoes and put them in.
Right.
I cook them up first. And sometimes boiled potatoes, which I chop up out of a tin.
I made some vegetable soup today, actually,
Oh, did
which
you?
was very nice, but I didn't put any mince in it.
Anyway, listen to this.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
bone broth. Bone broth is now being sold from a place in New York, which is exporting it all around the world. It's a takeaway shop called Brodo, which means, broth bone or something like that. And it's
Italian, isn't it? For soup, isn't it?
Oh, is
Brodo?
it? Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they've got a little shop they've opened in the East Village. In Manhattan, obviously.
Yeah, right.
And the bone broths are made with turkey, chicken and beef bones. That's all they put into it.
I'm told it's very good if you're looking to get pregnant as well, apparently.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't know about that. But funny enough, it was made especially for the New York Fashion Week in February. A cup of the broth had become a standard accessory for fashionistas because it's so low in calories.
It's a bit like you having a cup of OXO, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, I love my cup of OXO. I think it's great. It also contains amino acids, calcium and collagen, which broth evangelists believe can do everything from helping your digestive system and preventing fatigue to strengthening hair, skin and nails.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd like to see you try some of that, then.
Yeah, well, I might do. Now, the other thing I found out...
bone marrow.
What?
Bone marrow.
Oh, I hate that. Do you know if I have a pork pie?
Yeah.
If I have it cold, I cut it up and I take the jelly out first. Yeah, I like eating the jelly.
Right.
If you heat it, the jelly melts. It doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah, I suppose.
But I like it. I don't like
I
the
don't
jelly.
like the jelly.
Oh, I don't like the jelly.
Right.
Anyway,
What other great delights did you have over the weekend?
well, I'm just telling you. You see, you're always having a go at me. Oh, I like basic foods and all that kind of stuff. What about this report from a top international cuisinier who said the competitive...
A top international cuisinier?
Yeah, cuisinier.
What's his name?
What's his name? Master Chef. Well, you know, I mean, that's what he calls himself. You see
What
I
a
mean?
coincidence.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But anyway...
Did you realise there's a TV show called Master Chef?
Yeah, well, you know, maybe it's the same thing. So anyway, what happens is... Look, stop laughing.
Save the time, by the way.
Yeah, OK, but I've got to tell you this important fact.
All right, hurry up.
A new research has revealed Britons are not as adventurous as they may think when it comes to trying new foods.
Yeah. Well,
Stats show...
He's describing people like you.
39% of people refuse to try food they've not eaten before. 58% often choose the same meal when dining out every time they go out.
Well, you have the same meal twice in the same day.
I do, yeah. And 28% would not order food they could not pronounce.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that rules out pretty much everything for you, doesn't it?
Well, I like basic foods, and now it seems that I'm more normal than you are. You're a food freak.
Yeah, I'm a food freak, and you're completely normal.
How about this?
We are the two most. Would you look at the time?
Have never tried sushi, oysters, or quinoa. That's including me. Why are you laughing?
This is Talk Sport.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The enduring home of football.
It's modern radio, only better.
Yeah.
Quinoa, apparently it's pronounced.
No,
It
it's
is.
not. Well, I pronounce it the way it's pronounced in the English language.
Yeah, well, you
know?
can.
What?
You can if you want, but that's not. It's not necessarily an English word.
Yeah.
Thyme is being played.
Thyme. Yeah, well, you know.
You can
what
put a bit of thyme with the quinoa.
You know what
and
that
see
is.
where it goes. Kevin says this on Twitter. Bone broth is the latest scam. Never heard of it 5 months ago. Now I oddly see it on every website. And also, you know, if somebody's opening a shop that's just selling it and they've managed to hook in all of these idiots from New York Fashion Week,
trendies in Greenwich Village,
then I don't think you should go down that particular road.
Well, it's not for me. I don't like clear soup. I like thick soups. That's
Consomme it's called, isn't it?
Consomme, that's right, yeah. You can see through the soup. But I like the brothy soups. That's why I put mint in my soup.
Well,
it makes
that
it
is
like
brothy
broth.
soup.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Well, that's what they just said.
Yeah.
Bone broth.
Yeah, they call it bone broth. But if you're boiling up bones, all you get is a bit of white water. I mean, you don't get anything else. You know?
Well, I think, as I say, Sam's got it right. He says, could bone broth be just stock in a different world?
Well, no, it's not even stock. It's tasteless rubbish, in my view. Not that I've ever tasted it, but I mean, it sounds like it is.
Yeah.
Now, listen
Still a load more tweets coming in on the jump. But,
Yeah.
people are very happy that you've decided to do it.
Yeah, it'll be done. It'll be done. One form or other, it'll be done. Even if I have to, maybe, I might have to attempt a parachute jump out of an aeroplane to get into the sea off Bournemouth.
What, skydive, you'd consider that?
I would consider that, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Well, Becky says this from New Zealand. Mike Graham needs to come up with alternatives for the pier jump. Two mics would not be as good with one mic and Porky cut out.
Yeah, well, it's true.
Meaning that, if you had some kind of horrible accident.
Some fatal accident.
Incapacitate
yeah.
you. Well, even if it just incapacitated you for a while, that wouldn't be good, would it?
I wonder how high you have to be to skydive. Not very high, really, over Bournemouth Beach, I think.
Well, you can't jump out more than 10,000 feet. Above the sea level, otherwise you won't have any oxygen.
No, I know that. I'm not going to go 10,000 feet. I wonder if you could do it like at 1,000 feet or something like that.
I don't think that's far enough.
Is that not? Okay.
No, I think you'd have to do about 4,000
I
or 5,000.
suppose the other one is I could perhaps get a bloke with a boat and get him to pull me around on a parachute behind the boat.
You could do that.
Yeah, do that,
parasailing. Bit of parasailing. How about hang gliding?
Well, you've got to take years of tuition to learn how to steer one of those.
You can go with somebody, and they can be your pilot.
I'm not sure about that.
I think the zip wire thing sounds about the best option.
Well, yeah, but that's not too challenging, is it? You know what I mean? You just hang on to the zip wire.
I'd like to see you doing it.
Well, is it?
I've never done it.
Is it challenging?
Oh, well, I'm sure it's quite challenging, if you're coming all the way down from the cliffs. It's quite a long way down.
Is it? Right, OK. Well, I'll think about that one. I'll take advice from my local people down there. Now, listen, all this new food that we're talking about, which we've turned away from, people don't like sushi, don't like the quinoa.
Well, you say we've turned away from it. Yeah. I mean, people like you have always been waving the standard of, what you might regard as bland food, because that's what you like. And I don't blame you for liking that.
You keep telling me that, I'm a real oddity and I'm not with it.
I'm not saying you're an oddity.
Yes, you are, because I don't
eat everything out of a tin.
Because I don't eat sushi. No. Half of Britons have never even tried sushi.
Well, have you tried it?
No.
Well, why not?
I don't want to try sushi.
Well, so you're one of them then, aren't you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But, that means there's another 30 million people in this country who don't try sushi, and yet you try to single me out as some kind of screwball.
Well, you are.
Sushi. sushi.
But it's not because you won't eat sushi. It's because you go to Wetherspoons and have fish and chips for lunch and then stay there and have fish and chips for dinner.
What's wrong with that?
That, to me, is a strange thing to do.
Well, it's not a strange thing to me.
The fact that you put mince in soup is extremely suspicious and odd.
No.
The fact that you cook tomatoes until they're blackened, and then you scrape them out of the pan, and you think that that's somehow a good thing to put on toast.
I do.
You know, that's just a litany, a few of the things that you've admitted to doing over time.
And I like kipper sandwiches as well.
And you
for
like kipper
breakfast.
sandwiches out of a tin.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, yeah, but there's nothing wrong with it, but real kippers
It's
are much
efficient.
better.
I don't spend hours standing over a hot stove cooking kippers. If you can get them
I
out
don't
of
even know why you've got
out of a
cooking.
tin. Anyway, listen. What I'm going to say to you was, do you know the new drink that everybody's drinking with all these new exotic foods that we're not eating?
No.
Tequila.
Tequila?
Tequila
I was drinking
sales.
tequila when I was at university.
Tequila sales are absolutely booming.
Are they?
Yeah, it says here it's become the in drink because of South American restaurant chains growing up in this country called Oaxaca, Chiquito, and Barbarito.
Oaxaca follow me on Twitter, funnily enough.
Do they?
Yeah.
And it's fueled a taste for the agave-based spirit.
That doesn't sound right.
Which is grown at one supermarket alone, that supermarket being Waitrose, right, where I don't shop because I'll soon be shopping at Aldi, which is the new supermarket next to my place.
I thought it was Lidl. Does it turn out to be Aldi?
No, it's Aldi. It's Aldi.
Oh, is it?
I saw the big sign. Saw the sign going up.
Well, as long as
day.
it's not Tesco's, because they might be shutting that one down.
No, it's not. Well, you never know about that.
What a terrible time they're having, by the way.
I mean, what do they lose? 4.6 billion.
Yeah, the biggest ever sort of massive financial loss by any listed company ever.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it's going really well.
That's going really well. Getting rid of all their aeroplanes. They had a fleet of 6.
Yeah, they did
jets.
that. They did that a while ago.
Yeah, no, they've still got one. They're still going to
Have they?
Anyway, tequila range at Waitrose grown by 550%. Okay.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 years, and tequila sales are up 21%.
Well, isn't tequila one of those things that you would have drunk when you were younger? I mean, because I went through a period of drinking tequila sunrises all the time. And you do that thing with the salt and the lime on your hand and do shots of tequila. You never did any of that?
No. Really? I've done it. No, hang on. Which is the one you drink with the salt round the top of the glass?
Yeah, well, that's a margarita.
That's a margarita.
Usually, yeah,
that's right. Yeah, no, drink a lot of that.
Yeah,
but I used to
get. You've never done the thing where you had the shot glass. You hold the shot glass in your hand. You put some salt on the side of your
I've done that.
Your hand.
Yes,
and then you squeeze a lime into your mouth afterwards.
I did a lot.
You lick the salt. You drink the tequila. You must have done that.
I've done that in Waco. You know where the Waco siege and Inferno.
Yeah.
We were down there for about 3 weeks. No, do you remember?
So you were getting stuck into the tequila while you were waiting for the FBI to move in.
Well, we're waiting for the place to burst into flames.
You wouldn't want your judgment to be impaired.
No, exactly. That's absolutely right. We did that down in Waco. But tequila slammers, I remember in my Fleet Street days, I used to go to Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club in Soho.
Yeah, still there, isn't it?
Yeah, still there, till about 4 a.m, and we would drink like maybe 15 rounds of tequila slammers.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just the only thing
I used to go to a
drink.
bar. I had my office in New York. It was just around the corner from, it was like 22nd Street and 5th Avenue.
Yeah.
And I used to go to this Mexican bar around the corner where there was a girl who walked around with like a gunslinger's outfit on.
Right.
But instead of bullets...
Where was this?
It was in New York. It was about 22nd and 3rd.
Yeah.
22nd and 5th, rather. Right. And she had, where they have the sort of the double bullet... holders.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah,
like the bullets stuck in them.
Like they look like Mexican banditos.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but instead of bullets, she had shot glasses.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
and she would walk out, and in the holsters, instead of guns, she had 2 bottles of tequila.
Oh, brilliant!
And she used to walk around the bar, so no matter what you were drinking, she would just stop there. She was a very attractive young woman as well, and so she'd just like take two shot glasses out. If you were sitting there with somebody else, pour two shots out, and you just drink them. You don't have to pay for them.
Didn't have to pay for them.
No.
Why was it a promotion or something?
Well, I don't know. She was always there when I went in there.
Amazing.
And I think the idea was that you get so bladdered that you just end up buying even more booze.
I suppose you're right. Now, guess who is promoting tequila in this country and who is, in fact, president of Tequilas of Mexico?
No idea. Am I supposed to know this?
No, you're not. No, it's a silly
why are you
question.
asking me?
Well, I'm just going to tell you, it's amazing. It's Cleo Rockus. Now, do you remember Cleo Rockus from the Kenny Everett show? Do you remember her? The very, very attractive, wild black hair, very, shapely woman. Cleo Rockus. And she's promoting it in this country, for some unknown reason.
How strange.
But anyway.
Cleo, I think I saw her once on the boat, actually, going up the Thames.
Did you?
Yeah.
What do you mean you saw her on a boat going up the Thames? Well, you were staring out the window. She was on a boat on the Thames.
No, I was on the boat going up the Thames, and she was on it as well.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I had a pair of binoculars.
No, exactly. That's right. Yeah.
There she is.
But
there.
isn't it
that
amazing?
Her there?
That's her there. Yeah, she's a lovely girl, isn't she? Absolutely lovely. Isn't it amazing the way our food tastes change? Absolutely amazing.
Well, yours don't change, do they?
Sorry?
Yours don't change.
Well, I mean trends and foods and things. No, mine don't, but I've settled on mine from a long time ago. What I'm saying is as people grow up, their food tastes do change.
Right.
Do you get your children out and about a lot? Because you know of this thing about them all being stuck in front of computers all the time.
Yeah, of course I do.
It damages children's eyes.
Yeah, of course it does.
Damages children's eyes.
Well, you don't need to tell me what to do with my children.
No, I know.
That's why I'm such a good parent. I took them out to the beach at the weekend.
That's good.
Now,
Now,
a nice walk on the beach with the dog.
do they take an interest in birds? Obviously the
Not yet,
feathers
they're
are
a bit young for that.
No. You know exactly what I mean. Because I tell you what, I saw something over the weekend, and I can never.
I thought you were watching the Everton game over the
I
weekend.
was watching the Everton game, but
we haven't talked about that yet.
I keep in. We will in a minute. We just keeping in touch with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Some bird arrived, over the weekend, and it's one of these situations.
What, in your roof garden?
No. In Stroud, in Gloucestershire, actually.
Oh, right.
And believe it or not,
What do you go there for?
I don't know, it's blown off course, 4,000 miles off course. It's supposed to be heading for Canada. And it came from South America. It got blown off course, right? And it ended up in Stroud in Gloucestershire. Now, there's a picture of all these bird watchers who turn up to see these birds, and it is
That's amazing, isn't it? There's thousands of them.
It's amazing. There were at least 1,000
Twitchers, they call them, don't they?
Twitchers. At least 1,000 of them turned up. And do you know what? What I didn't know is, I thought, look, I like looking at a little robin, don't you? Dancing around in the snow on your roof garden in the winter and all that. And I like to see, magpies and all that
We've
kind
got
of
some
stuff.
lovely ring-tailed doves around us.
Well, there you
actually.
go,
The whole
ring-tailed
family of
doves. Those parakeets are in the trees all over the place in
Parakeets,
Richmond now, in South London and all that, which is all great, But what I'm saying is, these bird watchers, they travel thousands of miles to go and see birds, and they never take pictures of them.
Don't they?
No. All they do is spot them.
They just look at them.
They through a telescope usually, not binoculars, telescope, seeing the distance.
And then they mark it down in a little book.
Mark it down in a little book that they've seen it. And this one is a long beat something or other, right? And
Well, haven't you got the name? Seen the time, by the way. It's getting late.
I won't worry about that. Listen,
Well, look up the name and tell me about it in a minute.
Time's irrelevant when you're being informed.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Here's one from Robbie who says, I can't believe Parry hasn't mentioned
Robbie.
Everton's win yet.
Well, we're going to.
Hashtag
we're going to in a
forgetful
second.
Parry. I'm amazed
No.
he's gone 45 minutes without mentioning Everton.
We're about
This
to.
is Talk Sport. Talking about Everton coming up next. This is Talk Sport Extra Time. I'm Mike Graham. He's Mike Parry. The jump is going to go ahead, whether it's on a zip wire, whether it's out of a plane, whether it's somehow off a small pier or a big pier. It will happen. So if you're a Bournemouth fan
It will happen.
And you're looking forward to seeing Mr. Parry in the drink, it will happen. We'll probably have a date for you at some point over the course of the next few weeks, of course.
Indeed.
Now, we've got to talk about Everton because you were very
definitely.
excitable yesterday, quite
I was.
rightly.
I was.
But I'll tell you the thing that's been striking me ever since yesterday,
Right.
and that is that we talked a while ago that it was a year since David Moyes got fired from Manchester United.
That's right.
He got fired after losing 3-0 to Everton.
2-0, I think it was,
Was it 2-0?
last year, yeah.
And it was the Grim Reaper, was it not?
Yes.
The day that the guy was standing behind him.
Yes.
Now, I mean, obviously things are slightly different under Louis van Gaal, but it just struck me as slightly kind of ironic and strange that poor old David Moyes gets the bullet after losing to Everton, and nobody's really giving Van Gaal a hard time.
No, I think you've got to look at the circumstances surrounding both appointments, haven't you? So David Moyes comes in as the self-anointed successor from Sir Alex Ferguson, but then doesn't have the forceful personality that a man, is said to want to have to need.
And never looked comfortable in the job.
Never looked comfortable. Didn't have he didn't have an ego actually. Like Louis van Gaal has got a huge ego.
Yeah.
Like people like Jose Mourinho got huge egos, and I would say Arsene Wenger has as well. David never exhibited that at all.
And maybe that's what went wrong. In a way.
I think that is what went wrong. The United fans thought, why isn't this guy bigging us up? We're Manchester United, and he's trying to make out that when he used to say things like we're the underdogs in a game, they'd say, what do you say that for? We're Manchester United and all that kind of stuff. So he got off on the wrong foot with them all the time and paid dearly. What Louis van Gaal has been able to do, talking about his philosophy and his philosophy of what he's doing.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks the man's a genius because he talks in like.
Well, they don't know, do they? I mean, they're beginning.
riddles.
People are sort of, the jury's still out on him, I think.
Yeah, the jury is still out on him, but what I'm saying is he managed to talk himself up all the time. David Moyes would never have gone into Manchester United and said, this is my track record for two reasons. One, he didn't have one of winning trophies.
Well, that's a good idea not to say that.
That was his fault. But secondly, it's not in his nature to. Whereas Van Gaal said, all the time, every club I go to, it becomes the best in Europe.
And also, if you
world.
notice, whenever they play badly and they lose, he blames the players.
Yes, he does.
So they didn't do what he told him. And he said yesterday they lost it in the warm-up. I mean, if he could see that they weren't interested in the warm-up, why didn't he warm them up a bit more and say, well, hang on a second, guys.
It's a very good point. He said we didn't seem to want it enough in the warm-up.
Yeah.
Now, he had sitting next to him Ryan Giggs.
Yeah.
Ryan Giggs could probably still play for Manchester United.
Yeah.
Why on earth didn't he get him to sprint on the pitch and start going round and
Start revving them up a bit.
Revving them all up and saying, because I'll tell you something, when David Moyes first went to Everton, he used to do the warm-ups with the team.
Right.
It's something he'd done at Preston, and he thought the only way to really motivate these boys and let them know I've got my eye on them from the start is go out and do the warm-up
But you
with them.
see, even there, he was making a mistake, wasn't he? 'Cause
Well,
they're
you can't
probably
do that
looking
at
at him
Manchester
going,
United.
What are you doing, you stupid old fool?
No, I can't. Listen, I found out the name of the bird.
Oh, yeah, what is it?
Hang on a sec. What is it?
You lost it again.
No.
Go on.
It's a Hudsonian godwit.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Hudsonian godwit.
Yeah, the Hudsonian godwit.
What does it look like?
Well, it looks like what a Hudsonian godwit looks like, you fool.
describe it. You're supposed to be a man
All
of
right,
words.
well, I'll tell you what it looks like.
What colour is it?
It's brown. It looks like a pheasant with a very long yellow beak.
Okay.
Okay?
It's quite a big bird, then.
It's quite a big bird, yeah, quite a big bird. Now, it's 4,000 miles off course, right?
Yeah.
It flew more than 4,000 miles ago. And more than 1,000 bird watchers went to a place called Shapway Heath Reserve near Glastonbury, where the bird ended up after being blown off course.
So it was just the one of them as well.
It's only the third
Well,
time.
I suppose if you're interested in that kind of thing, it's quite an
I should imagine
exciting,
it is.
rare thing to see.
But it's only the third time the bird, which usually winters in South America and then heads to its breeding grounds in Canada and Alaska in spring, has been seen in Britain in the history of birds. The wader has taken residence among its English cousins, the black-tailed godwit, at the reserve.
Right.
So this bird, this
It's a
Hudsonian...
wading bird, then. You didn't tell me that.
Hey?
It's a wading bird, and that's quite an important thing about a bird. It's a wading bird.
What's a wading
It's
bird?
got longer legs for wading in the water, isn't it?
Oh, I see. Right, well, so...
Have you not seen a picture of it?
Yeah, I've seen a picture, but it cuts its legs off halfway down.
No, right.
It's not a full
It's the
picture.
kind of thing you would have done when you were running that page.
Probably,
so,
yeah.
So just put the bird in. It doesn't matter if you can't see the legs.
See the legs
It's
to
quite
illustrate how long it is. So they're like they must be like those things that stand on one leg in the Atacama Desert.
Yeah.
Pink flamingos.
Pink flamingos, yeah.
Now, it's thought that the bird last seen in England in 1983. Just imagine that. Just
incredible.
imagine not seeing anything like it since 1983. Became confused and followed a flock of migrating birds across the Atlantic. It was one bird
Is there any
watcher.
point to this story, by the way?
Yeah. One bird watcher said word went out online form at 7:30 a.m. on Saturday. By 10:30, over 500 bird watchers had turned up at the reserve. That is incredible.
Well-
They're incredible, these people.
Well, it's not particular. It's the kind of thing you should get into, actually, because it'll give you a bit of a hobby.
Do you know-
You could travel around the country looking at birds.
Do you know who was a bird watcher that you and I have worked with in the past?
There's a guy at the Daily Star who was a big bird watcher.
I'm
I'm not going to give his name out.
No, I think. I
don't
think
give any names
I
out.
know who it is. He does a column in the Sunday Express.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Is
Don't
it
give his
Neil?
name. No, it's not Neil.
Neil, Nigel.
I said don't give his
Nigel?
name.
No, I know who he is. I've interviewed him in here. He wrote a wildlife book.
Yeah, that's
and,
right.
And he came in here.
Yeah.
And I know him. I've met him in the past.
Yeah,
I've
of
worked
course.
with him, but I
You're
can't
probably a
remember.
good friend of yours.
He probably
But you forgot his name.
Stuart Winter.
That's what you get his name out
That's
for.
him, isn't it?
That's him, yeah.
Yeah, but the reason isn't that a fantastic name for a correspondent who's writing about the environment?
Well, I suppose so.
Winter.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd probably change his name to it.
Yeah.
Make himself more famous.
Yeah, he was changing from summer.
He's a very nice chap.
He is. Well, you've got no horrible stories to tell about him then.
No.
Well, that's good.
What am I
Glad to
doing
hear it.
here?
I don't know what you're doing here.
I'm banging my... No. Here. I'm banging my cups together. Two
you
mugs.
seem to be, 2 mugs. Yeah,
Two
why
mugs,
have you
right.
got 2 mugs?
Well, because...
As an answer to that. Would you stop that, please?
Well, it's just a bit of
irritating
music.
my ears.
The reason I'm doing that is because I wanted to tell you about an office policy which you've probably fallen foul on.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying to save you from becoming even more unpopular
Right, okay.
in TalkSport Town.
Well, I have to say, this is without question probably the most unhygienic office I've ever worked in.
Well, it's not hygienic, I agree.
It is the most disgusting place of all time.
Yeah, but we work here 24 hours a day, so nobody actually gets time
Well,
to
yeah,
take
but-
2 paces back and sort things out.
Nevertheless.
Well, I mean, look, don't stand around and say all these cups are dirty.
I'll tell
Just
you what.
wash some yourself.
I'll tell you what,
right?
I mean, look around here, right?
Yes.
There's 2 bins over in the corner there full
Yeah.
of rubbish, right? Now, most of it's paper waste, but there may be, somebody's chips in there down the bottom. I mean,
whatever.
it's awful. It's absolutely horrible. You go outside, the sink is full of dirty dishes. 'cause
I don't know
nobody-
why people
nobody
don't empty
bothers
these
to wash
bins
them.
sometimes.
It's like living in some kind of awful house where nobody does any work.
I can't understand why people throw bits of paper on the floor in the
Yeah.
studio, but that's
Bits of
another...
paper,
that's
cans,
doesn't matter.
bottles.
Now, what I was going to say to you is the worst thing you can do is suddenly come in to find out that you've been using somebody else's mug. That gets people really
Well,
wound
we don't really
up.
have our own mugs here, do
Really
we?
wound. Well, some people do. Some people do. I've never had my own mug anywhere, really, because I think it's mad. But I do insist on my cups
I bet
being...
you had your own mug when you were news editor at Daily Express.
No, I didn't, no.
I bet you did.
No, I didn't. No, honestly, I didn't.
Really?
No. But
Well,
I
didn't
do
you have
have
like an Everton mug or something?
Sorry?
Didn't you have an Everton mug or something like that?
No, I have a collection of mugs at home. No, I think that's pathetic to take that into the workplace.
Yeah.
Do you know what? People used to come to work and do that pathetic Tony Blair thing. Pictures of their children on mugs.
Oh, yeah, that's not good. Yeah.
God,
I've
how
never done that.
pathetic is that? I tell you. You occasionally get one that's got an Arsenal crest on it, something like that. You can forgive that, so to speak. Just a bit of schoolboy fun. But, no, I've got a collection of mugs at home. And my proudest mug is one that I got when
I'm sorry, you keep repeating the word mug. I keep just thinking, of the other use of the word mug.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't help it. You just keep saying mug.
That must be the most basic form of joke you've made
It's
in this
not
show.
a joke.
For many,
it's not a joke. I'm
many
just telling you what my thought
months.
process is.
I'm telling you that I went on the first job I ever did when I got appointed to the Daily Express in Manchester was the North Wales tour of the newly married Prince Charles and Diana.
Oh, yeah.
Princess of Wales.
Yes.
And I got given a commemorative mug.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to give it to my mother, but she didn't want it.
Who gave you that?
Some hotel I stayed in there.
You stole it, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No,
Yeah, you
it
did.
was in Rill.
Yeah,
it was in Rill. No, I didn't steal it. Actually, I might have acquired it from the room in the hotel.
Yeah, you
that
stole
could
it.
have been.
There's
Could have been.
no way that somebody gave you that.
Anyway, I've still got it.
Have you?
Yeah, and I thought...
Some people collect them,
Well, I don't collect them, but I thought, well, that is a memory of days gone by when I was forging my path through the Fleet Street jungle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've kept it, but I've never used it to drink tea out of.
Has it not actually worn? Because sometimes the imprint wears off after a while.
No. When somebody told me about this thing about don't drink out of somebody else's mug in the office and all that, I went to see just how many mugs I have got. I've still got an Everton mug from 1970.
Blimey.
Yeah, now the other thing I insist on in mugs, of course, I never use the Everton one anymore because it's got a chip in it, and chips carry germs.
That's not good, yeah.
So you must never use
why
them.
don't you just throw it away?
Oh, because it's a great mug. It's
Why?
Well, the Everton crest looks so bold, and in fact, look, I tell you what,
They've changed the Everton crest since then, haven't they?
What?
Haven't they changed the Everton crest since then?
Changed it back to what it used to be like.
But is
now,
it still exactly the same as it was? Did they not still alter it slightly?
Slightly altered, yeah. But anyway, I took some pictures of my my mugs so that you can see them.
All right. Well, I'd like to see them.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Okay. I'll show you. I thought you'd be interested in this. You see.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you show me the pictures, I will send them out on Twitter as well. 'Cause we've had quite a few interesting remarks about your picture with.
Well, I'm not surprised.
With old Paula, what's her name?
I'm not surprised. Everybody gets into it. Listen, what do you think of the old super rich list again, eh?
Well, I mean, I always peruse it just because that's a sort of small matter of interest to me. But I mean, I think the thing that amazed me the most was I think it was Manchester City that had the most players or the most young players on the sports list, right?
Unbelievable.
Did you see that?
I did see that, yeah. What really astonished me, loads of things astonished me about it, but firstly, the Queen is no longer in the top 300 richest people in this country. Now, when that rich list first started, it was either she or the Duke of Westminster who were the richest people in the country.
That's right.
You know, they were always vying for it. And then...
But now they've got something like 99 or 100 billionaires, haven't they?
Oh, it's incredible. And guess who's moved into billionaire status?
Who?
Lord Sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Which, you have to say, you take your hat off, don't you, to a chap who started selling car aerials from the back of a three-wheeler van and now has a £1 billion empire, made up, by the way, not so much of electronics, which is where he made his first fortune, but a property empire, which includes... For those who don't live or work in London, there's a place called Old Street, isn't there?
There is.
And there's a roundabout there.
I went to FE College there, actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
What's FE?
FE, Further Education. I did my A-levels there.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. So, anyway,
it's right on the edge of Shoreditch, which is now, of course, a very trendy part of London.
But it's become the Silicon Valley of this country, hasn't it? It's where all the media companies are.
There's a lot of media companies around Shoreditch, that's true.
Well, apparently, I was reading an in-depth piece on Lord Sugar after it was revealed he's now a billionaire. Apparently, he owns, an awful lot of property around there and has, developed a sort of media city type place, you know? It's quite amazing, the amount of money...
But you're fascinated by all this stuff. I mean, presumably you spent an entire Sunday before the football perusing the rich list.
I did.
I imagined you sort of looking to see whether you'd appeared in it, actually.
No, I didn't. But I tell you what, a mate of mine who has made £75 million in business.
Has he?
In two really successful businesses he's run. He sold the first one for about 30 million, and he sold the second one for about 75 million. Yeah. But along the way, he invested like 30 million. So his net profit of about 75 million, which he told me about just towards the end of last year. He's not in the list because you now need 100 million quid even to get to the
But
bottom
presumably, if
of
you're
the
that
rich list.
wealthy, you're quite happy not to be in it, aren't you?
Well, how do people work out these wealths? I don't know. I
Well,
mean,
Philip Beresford, right?
Yeah.
He was a guy that I've known for years and years. He's
Yes.
the guy that puts it together. Because when I was working for the Sunday Times when I was in New York,
Yeah.
because, of course, you've never worked for a broadsheet paper, have you?
yes, I have.
Point that out.
Yes, I have.
Have you?
Have I?
Have you? No, you haven't.
No, I don't think I have.
You've never worked for a broadsheet paper.
I've had pieces in broadsheet papers
Have
where
you?
they've asked me to write things
Like
for.
what?
Like
When was the last piece you had in a broadsheet paper?
Last piece
Portsmouth
of-
Bugle doesn't count, by the way.
Excuse me, don't be rude to the Portsmouth News. They're a very fine newspaper.
But it's not. But it is not. It is not a broadsheet.
And they are promoting our show at
are
the
they?
Guildhall
Oh, excellent.
Theatre in Plymouth.
Oh,
So
glad
would you
to
like
hear
to
that.
take that back?
Well, are
would
they
you?
interviewing both of us or just you?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean,
Of course, they just interview you.
well, I'm a local boy.
Yeah,
local
no, you're
boy.
not.
Local
You're
boy.
from Chester.
No, I'm local.
know.
I'm gospel boy now.
So you're going to do a promotional piece on the Two Mikes live tour, just with an interview with you.
Yeah, but I'll let you come in on the picture.
Oh,
'cause we'll
thanks.
send them a picture of the two of us.
Thanks
okay?
very much indeed.
Yeah, don't worry.
Great.
Don't worry. That's okay. But the wealth, McCartney, 750 million. The man at the top
Well, Wayne
now
Rooney, right?
is Len Blavatnik, businessman and music mogul born in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
He's got 13.17 billion.
Well, Wayne and Colleen Rooney are Britain's wealthiest young couple.
88 million.
Incredible.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Says 86,
Well,
actually.
it depends how young you class the Beckhams, who've got a fortune of 300 million.
Well, they're not-
Unbelievable.
Well, they're older than Wayne and Thingy, so therefore they're not the youngest, are
It's true. It's true.
they? That's how we classify it.
Yeah.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
Called Arthur Brittenden, by the way.
Yeah.
I was reading an obituary of his in the Times, and
It's amazing, isn't
he
it?
couldn't have been more different from you. This is a guy who served
What do you mean more different
Fleet
than me?
Street. Well, this is a guy who was described as a towering figure on Fleet Street, right?
I was.
Yeah, no, you weren't.
I was.
You were not a towering
I
figure
was.
on
I was
Fleet Street.
described as a towering figure on Fleet Street many times.
Lord Beaverbrook and Rupert Murdoch were amongst the people who regarded
right.
him as one of the finest newspaper journalists they'd ever met. Right?
I worked for the Murdoch organisation, and I
was-
worked for the Beaverbrook organisation.
He was northern editor of the Daily Express.
Yeah, and that's in the days, by the way, when they had a completely separate newspaper in Manchester.
Yeah, and they had about
something
5
like
million circulation, right?
4.4 million circulation, and 50 reporters in Manchester.
And
it was unbelievable.
He was the last editor of the Daily Mail when it was a broadsheet.
Yeah.
Right? So he was a giant in many ways.
Yeah, but hang on. If he was so good, why is it when they took the Daily Mail down to a tabloid and merged it with the Daily Sketch, they fired him and left David English
Well,
in
because
the
David
job?
English was the genius of the Daily Mail. I mean, he was the guy that came up with the whole idea of making it go tabloid, and he completely revamped the paper.
Yeah, well,
but
that's true.
The reason that this guy was different from you was not because he was more successful or reached a higher point of the corporate ladder than you did. He was a masterly office politician, apparently it says here.
Yeah,
which you'd have to say was kind of your breaking point, really, wasn't it?
Well, it was my weakness. I was never great. I didn't believe in having to, smarm around, trying to keep people happy and
Yeah.
please people and grovel to
But
editors.
that's what office politics is all about.
I know, but I couldn't stand it. I used to say, look, I'm not doing that because of this, and this, and why shouldn't that person be sacked? And by the way, I'm not putting up with all this rubbish just because that's a famous person. And
You saying you were a man of principle?
a man of principle.
I have some sympathy for you, actually.
I'm not writing pro Mrs. Thatcher stories every day of the week just because the editor wants a knighthood. I mean,
Well, you wrote the Kate 80 story, you say, because you were forced to do it.
Well, I did, actually. But that wasn't a pro Mrs. Thatcher one. That was a sort of, pro.
It was anti-BBC,
It
wasn't
was
it?
anti-BBC.
Now, what about this? He was a masterly office politician. He also had courtesy and charm, something you probably, I would say, lacked. Colleagues who were
No, I
fired...
had courtesy and charm.
But people who were fired would observe that they had been smiled in the back.
Yeah, smiled in the back rather than knifed in
Yeah,
the back. Yeah,
exactly.
Not much of that goes on in Fleet Street. The smiling in the back. Plenty of knifing in the back
He
goes
sounds
on.
like one of those guys that you would have no idea after you'd walked out of his office whether you were going to keep your job or not.
Yeah, exactly. He spotted
Business is
once.
full of that.
He spotted once that somebody had misspelt Guinness
Oh, yeah.
in a piece of copy.
Yeah.
That got into the paper. So the next day, instead of doing what I'd have done, drag somebody to your office and say, how thick are you?
Right.
You can't even spell Guinness, probably the most famous drink in the world. He walked up to his desk and gave him what was in those days £2.
Right.
And said, if you're going to pub at lunchtime, buy yourself a Guinness. And when you do, bring the label back and learn how to spell it in future.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough, isn't it?
Well, it's a bit obtuse,
Now,
isn't it?
I've got to ask
I was
you-
always more direct.
I've got to ask you about this debate that's been going on for the last 36 hours on TalkSport about boring Chelsea.
Yeah.
Because I want to know what your view is. I don't think it matters. One, I don't think they are that boring. I mean, they haven't been that great either this year, but particularly this calendar year, But, does it matter if a team wins by being boring?
No, not at all. George Graham has written a piece in tomorrow morning's Daily Mail, And George Graham was always accused of, in fact, it was because of George Graham that the song emerged.
1-0 to the Arsenal,
to the Arsenal, because
exactly.
he was very happy to win 1-0 because he had such a great defence with,
Tony Adams.
Bull, Tony Adams, Nigel, what's his name, and the
Winterburn.
Nigel Winterburn, and the other fullback.
Martin Keown.
Martin Keown was in it as well, and all that kind of stuff.
Lee Dixon.
Lee Dixon.
Can you remember anybody's
Lee Dixon. Yeah, of course I can. And because of that, he was and David Seaman, of course, in goal. He was able to rely on a defence not to concede goals. So only need one goal up front, and usually it was old Smudger. What was his name? Alan Smith. Was he called
Alan
Smudger?
Smith. Well, for some reason, anyone called Smith seems to be called Smudger.
Oh, well,
I've never quite understood why
him.
that is.
Yeah, that was him.
Now, how about this from Matt, who's
Right.
tweeted into the two mics, and now it's a stolen mug to add to his crimes. Mike Parry's a one-man crime wave.
No, I'm not at all.
You are?
In fact, look, I'm just spanning a picture of these mugs and people see how valuable they are.
All right. What?
Well, I'm sorry.
What did you just say?
I was just reading my tweet. I just read it very, very quickly. Sorry about that.
Can you try and read it a bit more slowly so we can understand it?
No, because I'm going to put it out now and then people can read it. OK, here it goes. I know how to put a tweet out with a picture. I've learnt that skill
Right,
within
well
the
done.
last couple of
So
weeks.
you're actually going to put this out, are you?
Yeah, I'll put it out.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, how about that?
Somebody's tweeted us a picture of an AFC Bournemouth mug.
Oh, right, OK. I
And
suppose
it's
I'm
Sean.
going to be. I suppose I'll be called a Bournemouth mug, will I?
You probably will, actually. Very
descend
good.
on that tripwire.
Very good. Yeah, this is Sean who's tweeted that. I won't give his full name out, because
Okay.
we try not to give people's full names out on the show.
Okay.
And here's one from William, who says, that bird changed course because it heard about Porky's upcoming jump and couldn't resist coming to watch the spectacle.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Listen, when you come into work up that, is it the M26 you come up sometimes when you're coming from the coast?
No, I come up the A21.
A21.
Yeah.
But look,
I passed the A26, that goes past sort of Sevenoaks way.
new report's been issued,
Oh, yeah.
right, about the M25.
All right.
It says that half of this country are so frightened at the prospect of driving on the M25 that they'll do anything to avoid it.
Really?
Like go 50 miles out of their way.
I don't mind the M25, actually.
Yeah, but I can understand what they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's a very intimidating road.
Do you think so?
When it widens out to 6 lanes
Well, I must say,
on the underbelly
one of the
sort
things
of
that
Surrey and all that.
one of the things that I'm very happy about is that now that when I drive down to Sussex after the show, it's not dark anymore, because there are times when it's been dark and wet,
Yeah.
and the speed at which some of the trucks drive on
Well, that's the
that
problem.
road, and also some of the vans.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, a white van man sort of chasing up behind you doing
That's-
90 miles an
I
hour,
totally agree.
about 10 feet away from your back bumper.
You hate it,
It's
don't
extraordinary.
you? You hate it.
Yeah.
It says motorists are too scared to drive the M25 because of the mythical status attached to London's orbital motorway. Transport Focus, a campaign group for safer driving, found that the road was considered to be a unique driving experience in the UK, even among motorists who'd never used it.
Really?
Focus groups told how the 117-mile road is more intimidating than other stretches of the network because of its aggressive drivers, like you just said, wide stretches which reach up to 6 lanes at some points, and the use of the words clockwise and anti-clockwise constantly confuse motorists
Well, why would they?
who
That's
sometimes
ridiculous.
come off onto the wrong carriageways.
But that's bonkers, isn't it? I mean, why would you
Well-
be confused about clockwise and anti-clockwise? I mean, surely you know which way the clock goes.
Yeah. It says drivers...
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You did that yeah thing again, didn't
No,
you?
no.
You said yeah.
No, I was
No, I
listening.
can tell by the tone of your voice.
But were you adding anything to the information I was giving
Yes,
to the
I
listener?
was. I
Were
was
you?
questioning the
Were you?
idea that somebody shouldn't would become confused over
Right.
clockwise or anti-clockwise.
Well, thank you for your contribution.
No, not at
Very
all.
much appreciated.
Don't mention it.
Right, drivers in London, the South East, consider it to be an unavoidable but necessary evil.
Oh, yeah.
Many others try to avoid having to use it if possible, going sometimes 50 miles out of their way.
Hmm.
Do you know what I think?
How's your new car purchase coming along, by the way? Because did you not say you might get a new car this summer?
Yes, I will, yes.
Are you still looking around? Are you still
No,
deciding?
no, I think I've decided on what I'm going
Have
to
you?
get. Yeah.
What are you going to get?
Well, I'm not going to tell you.
Why not?
Because I'm still looking at the various models.
Well, don't you think I'm going to spot it? When you know what you should
Well,
get? Because
well,
I heard it being advertised as this new Jaguar sports car.
The F-Type.
The black one, yeah.
Oh, no.
been advertising it on
The black
TalkSport.
one it's called the Jaguar Black.
Yeah.
And it's
the F-type black or something
It's
like
the
that.
XF one I had with black wheels and black,
No, but isn't it a sports car, though? Isn't it the sports one?
No, it's a sporty version of the XF.
Oh, I see. All right.
But the new car, if I have a Jaguar again, it will be the F-Type,
Okay.
which is the successor to the E-Type.
Yeah, that's the one I mean.
Oh,
I'm
is it?
sure this is the one I've heard advertised.
Oh, well, that's about 80 grand's
It's
worth.
a black F-type.
Oh, I see. Well, it's about 80 or 90 grand's worth. I mean, it's a fantastic motor, and I've had a look at one. Very, very expensive, but very, very good and very rare. But that's by the by. What I was going to say is the most intimidating part of the M25 for me is when I'm going to Ipswich, to my residence there.
Well, you hardly ever go there, though.
I hardly ever go there, I agree. But you go round the underbelly of the M25 and then you come up to the River Thames, the crossing.
Yeah.
Now, when
Dartford Crossing.
Yeah, the Dartford Crossing. When you're driving down to go into the tunnel and you see the Queen Elizabeth Bridge towering above you, it's immense. It's a massive structure.
Not really.
It is.
Well,
it terrifies me to death.
Does it?
And then coming back the other way, when you have to come over the bridge.
You know they've automated that whole system now, so there's no toll anymore.
I do, yeah. You've got to register, haven't you?
Yeah.
But I'm not joking. When I come back the other way, I get vertigo going over that bridge.
Well, it's
so
quite high, isn't it?
huge and high over the River Thames. I always feel...
You've got to pay attention as well driving over. I mean, I
You
don't
do.
know what happens now because I've not been over that way since they did away with the toll.
Yeah.
But quite often you would come over that little humpback bridge, the big humpback
find
bridge.
a queue in front of
and
you.
then suddenly the traffic
That's
starts
right.
complete standstill.
It terrifies me. It really does.
Does it?
I always, when I'm driving there, I always do this. I drive, I look straight in front of me and I chant, calm, calm, calm. Calm.
So this is not one of the times when you pretend you're a Spitfire pilot?
No, I don't. Definitely not. No.
Because you could, because you're actually flying. You could,
no,
because you could look
you're
outside
actually
and
in the
pretend you
air.
were flying.
I bet you Spitfires flew at that height during the Second World War.
I bet they did.
No, it's calm, calm, calm. Otherwise, I'd panic. You know that some people
See the time,
are driven to throw themselves to their deaths off high buildings because it sort of sucks them. You know.
Yeah, it's a hypnotic thing.
It is, and I have to resist all the time from in my car.
Drive off the bridge.
To drive off the bridge.
Blimey, you really have got
So I
problems,
just
haven't you?
chant calm.
All right.
Calm,
now, listen to this from Steve in Hull. He says, tell the mad lad he's completely wrong about twitchers. Most now carry massive big lens cameras able to capture a pimple on any kind of bird. He's described one here, but I'm not sure if it's a real one, and it may be rude, but from 200 yards away. So you're wrong about that. Apparently, they all carry cameras.
No, but the twitcher told me that it's not the point of the exercise is not to take pictures of these birds, it's to see them. You know, and you actually say, I spotted so-and-so. They're called bird spotters, not bird photographers.
All right, okay.
Or bird picture takers or anything like that, you know?
All right.
I think it's fantastic for somebody to have an interest like that, but the extent to which they take them... I read about a bloke whose marriage collapsed.
Don't tell me another story now. Look at the time.
Marriage collapsed because on his honeymoon he got a call from his local twitchers group.
Yeah. Said,
this bird's right. He said, that's it, love, I'm sorry, I'm off. And
maybe she got the wrong end of the stick.
Eh?
Maybe she got the wrong end of the stick.
Yeah, drove off for 400 miles in the middle of the night to see a bird.
Yeah. No wonder you got divorced.
No, a feathered bird.
Yeah, this is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes.
Right, here we go then. Right, here we are then. Right. That's it. Right. I'll take over now, boys. Oh! Don't jump off the roof, Dad. You'll make a hole in the yard. Mother just planted petunias.
It's your little joke, is it, this?
It's nothing to do with me.
Nothing to do with
It's
you.
nothing to do with me.
Came with a list of stories tonight about jumps, didn't you? Talking about football the
Tommy
weekend.
Cooper, you know.
Yes, I know it's Tommy Cooper. I recognise Tommy Cooper's voice. Great, wasn't he, Tommy Cooper?
He was.
Fantastic. Alan Brazil was in the theatre the night he died.
So I think you told me
Yeah,
that,
he was on stage. Tommy Cooper was on stage, not Alan Brazil.
No.
He was in the audience.
I imagine so.
Yeah. The only football we haven't talked about so far is the one you've been avoiding. That's the Everton game, which was sensational
I've not
yesterday.
been avoiding the Everton game.
Yes,
I said to you that was it not ironic that this was the same fixture that David Moyes ended up getting fired from?
Yeah, but we haven't talked about how good Everton were, have
Well,
we?
I mean, were they?
Of course they were.
Were they?
Of course they
I
were.
must say, it was
James
quite
McCarthy had
an
the game of
exciting-
the season.
Quite an
the
exciting
one we've all
game.
been waiting for him to have.
And well, funnily enough, people were tweeting out that thing that you mentioned before, that you'd had a message from somebody at Everton who'd said we've got the best midfield around, Lennon and McCarthy.
That's right, yeah, absolutely,
Which
yeah.
was good.
Lennon is...
What about Ross Barkley's dive? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, unfortunate.
You don't want to talk about that,
Unfortunate, yeah, I do. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Why is it unfortunate?
But he looked a bit more like the old Ross Barkley, because the problem was, when we got to that terrible run just after Christmas and, January, February, it was terrible. Ross was playing sideways, backwards, anywhere, but, forwards. But anyway.
Well, let me ask you a question, right?
Right.
Because Everton obviously aren't going to make it into the Europa League this season, I guess. It's
Thank
not gonna
God.
happen, which is a good
Thank
thing.
God.
But if a manager...
I don't want the Europa League. It's a bum
But hang on,
competition.
but if the manager knows that the Europa League is going to have a deleterious effect, say, on the players, then why doesn't he counter it? Surely the whole point of paying loads and loads of money to these guys is to say, look, you know that you're in the Europa League. If you win it, you get into the Champions League. Everton wanted to win it because they were very excited excited about it. Even you were, and then they got knocked out by Dynamo Kiev, right?
Yes.
Who I think they're still in it, or maybe not. Maybe they got knocked out as well. But the bottom line is surely the manager's job then is to manage the team and the squad,
Well, it is.
so that they do well in the Premier League and in the Europa League.
Yeah, but it's too much of a commitment for me, and the Europa League's not worth pursuing to that
Well, of
extent.
course it is. It's worth
I don't
winning.
think it is.
Surely you'd like to see Everton in the Champions League. It's the only chance they've got.
By the way, I saw something in one of the papers from
Oh, yeah.
tomorrow morning saying that, Brendan Rodgers was going on about, I need the resources and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
That was last week.
How much he spent? 220 million?
Yeah, about that.
Apparently, somebody's added it up that, since Liverpool's pursuit of the Premier League has always been unsuccessful,
Yeah.
about nearly £1 billion has been wasted.
Really?
Yeah, in players that have come and gone
Yeah,
and
wouldn't be surprised.
between lost money and all that kind of stuff. But that's by the by.
I mean, I suppose what they would say is that some of the sales have actually helped to offset the amount of money they've spent,
suppose it would,
like
yeah.
Suarez and all that.
Quite right.
But nevertheless, he's starting to look a bit average, isn't he? 0-0 against West Brom.
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't win against Hull...
Dull game.
They're very dull. I mean, talk about boring.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we'll get games like that during the season. What were you saying to me before about the telephone call?
The telephone call?
The voice thing.
Oh, yeah, well, there's a study out, and I know how you appreciate scientific studies. There's a study out that says that men can judge how attractive a woman is by hearing her talk.
I totally agree.
This is a study done by the University of Vienna, funnily enough. Attractive voices may create an idea about what a woman will look like.
I totally
I
agree.
think that's complete rubbish.
Oh,
because
no,
quite
it's
often
not to me.
You'll find that you speak to a woman on the phone. I'm sure you've done this, and if you haven't done it, then I apologise. But you'll find yourself talking to a woman on the phone quite a lot. For example, when
Yes.
we were in newspapers, you'd talk
Yes.
to PRs quite a lot.
That's right.
And they would sound nice, and you'd ask them out for a drink or whatever.
That's right.
And then you'd meet them, and sometimes they didn't look anything like what you imagined.
No.
And sometimes quite grotesquely in the wrong direction.
Yeah, well, that's a bit unkind. No woman's
Not
ugly.
unkind.
Every woman's attractive in the eye
No
of the
woman is
beholder.
ugly.
No woman's ugly.
Really?
No woman's ugly. Every woman's attractive in the eye of the beholder. Sometimes just the beholder is ugly, if you see what I mean.
Well, in your case, certainly, but certainly there have been some women I've seen you out with.
That is totally unnecessary.
I've seen some
Totally
women.
unnecessary.
I've seen some women you've been out with who didn't exactly figure on the beauty scale.
That is cruel and insulting
No, it isn't.
to women I've associated with in the past.
No, it isn't.
I've never associated with ugly women.
Let's not name them, shall we?
Well, listen, I'll tell you what, that to me is so truthful. When I first worked on the Chester Chronicle,
Yeah.
which was a weekly newspaper in Chester, on one occasion, for some unknown reason, I had to ring up a reporter on the other paper in town called the Chester Observer.
Oh, right. Are there still two papers there?
No, they merged years ago. Right. It was called the Cheshire Observer. They were the competition.
Right.
And the reason was because I was covering the gang show, which is
You've got all the top jobs.
Oh yeah, top jobs. Yeah. Which it's
Did
the
you get a
annual
backstage pass? Access all areas.
Access all areas of the gang show. It was the annual Christmas show by the Scouts.
Yeah.
And
I know what
Cubs.
it was. Yeah.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I never went to one.
Anyway,
Were you ever in the Scouts?
no.
Why not?
I was going to ask you about that actually. Whether your kids are going to be in the Scouts because.
Well, funnily enough, they were. They both joined the Cubs, but unfortunately, because of the geographical location of where the local Cubs are,
Right.
When we moved house, they couldn't be in any longer, and that was just too far away.
Dear.
And they haven't really joined the other one,
Do you know what's happened? There's no longer a badge for orienteering.
isn't there?
No, it's gone now into. They've changed it to
They
something.
do a lot of sort of strange things now, don't they?
Yeah, they do things like modern communications or something like that. You have to use
Well, that's no bad thing.
a laptop and a smartphone.
I mean, funnily enough, when they were interested in joining it the first time around,
Yes.
and they quite liked it, then when they were told that they couldn't be in it anymore, and they had to join the local one, they sort of lost interest. So,
yeah, but I think orienteering is one of the things that should still be done.
well, you don't need orienteering, do you? You get GPS.
No, I know that, but I mean, kids should be able to, if you were dropped on the Brecon Beacons, not to find your way home, and it's 20 miles away, you need to
Well,
know
who's going to
about
drop them on the Brecon Beacons?
compasses. Well, you never know.
No, I'm not going to drop them on the Brecon Beacons.
No, of course not. No, but I mean, you understand what I'm saying. What was I about to say? Now, now on the telephone.
I don't know what you were talking about.
So we were going, and I
Oh,
need.
yeah, so you were chatting up this woman on the Cheshire Observer.
Well,
or whatever
I
it
rang her up to say, if you're going to this show tonight, I've never done it before and all that kind of stuff.
You were completely chatting her up.
So anyway,
Yeah, you were.
When she
Did
came-
you know who she was?
well, I know her name was Brenda Hickman.
Brenda.
Yeah,
Is that
not-
where you got Brenda Parry from?
No, it wasn't. No, it was a totally different Brenda. But Brenda seemed to have figured big in my life, actually. But no, it's
You've just named her.
yeah. Well, no, that's okay. That's okay. She went on to have a great career. Anyway,
Oh, good.
her
Glad
voice
to hear it.
on the phone was so sexy.
Was it?
And so
What sort of voice was it? I mean, regionally speaking.
oh, it was from like Chester. She was
Because
from Chester.
have you got a thing about a particular
No.
regional voice?
Well, I like Geordie accents on girls. I
Do
think they're lovely. Yeah, but this was just a Chester accent.
Can you give us a rendition?
Well, No, she didn't say that. It was, but she was so breathy. She was, oh, hello, Mr. Parry.
See, I can't be bothered with all that.
So nice
breathy.
to speak to you.
No,
It was.
That's fake, though.
So anyway, I listened to this on the phone. I thought, golly, what a really sexy voice.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we're both covering this thing
you
together.
dialed the wrong number.
So I was going to meet her that evening, and I suggested we should go for a drink before the show.
Oh,
you
right.
see.
So you weren't chatting her up at all then?
Well, I'd never met her before, and I said to somebody, Brenda Hickman, what's she
what
like?
a fantastic line that must have been.
What?
Do you fancy coming to the gang show with me?
Yes. Well, no,
I've
she
got
was
a
going to the gang
backstage
show. We were
pass.
both going to do it for the respective papers.
Dear
I said,
God.
why don't we have a drink in the Dublin Packet on Chester Town Hall Square?
Who could refuse?
Once run by Dixie Dean, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Before the show. And she said, oh, that would be very nice. So I said to somebody, Brenda
She
Hickman...
obviously hadn't heard of you at this point.
No, she hadn't heard of me. I was new to the...
And your wicked
I
ways.
was new to the regime. So somebody said, oh, Brenda Hickman. They said, oh, yeah, she... she nice looker, dark hair, and puts plenty of slap on her face and all this kind of stuff, Well, that's what they actually said. Well,
she might be listening.
Well, she might be, but I mean, it doesn't matter now, does it? So anyway, that
depends what else you're going to say.
And she was the sexiest woman I'd ever met.
Really?
Oh,
was she an older woman?
No, she's the same age as me. Exactly the same age. And she'd only been on the paper a few weeks herself. That's why I rang her and said, look, let's go and do it together because, we can, we can give each other succour and comfort, so to speak, if you see what I mean.
Exchange details from the gang show.
That's right,
Oh, did you see that amazing dog act?
Hey.
What's in the gang show anyway? I've never seen one.
Oh,
what do they do?
What they do is they all stand on stage on a made up boat, like a wooden boat, right? Seriously.
How did you write a report about this?
I don't know, but somebody makes this wooden boat, and it's only 2-dimensional boat,
right.
and they all stand behind it,
and they move the boat around.
And they move the boat around, and then they all start singing, we're rolling along on the crest of a wave, and
so, I mean, what can you possibly write about it?
Everybody starts stamping their feet
and
clapping, we're rolling along on the crest of a wave.
Unless there's some horrendous kind of, electrical failure or something, all the lights go out.
It's true.
There's nothing to write about, is it?
It's true, absolutely true. But anyway, when I met Brenda in the pub, she was the sexiest woman I've ever met. Her mother was Portuguese, I found out later, and that's why she had such beautiful dark black hair. And she had Romanesque features, high cheekbones, and straight nose and all that. She was absolutely fantastic.
Right.
And I ended up going out with her for about 2 years. Yeah, but in competition...
2 years?
Yeah, but in...
That's a long time for you.
It is a long time. It's the whole
Weren't
time
you frightened of becoming too intimately involved with her?
No, it was the whole of the time I was on the Chester Chronicle.
Right.
But then when I left and went to Newcastle, she actually followed me.
She followed you?
Yeah. But the thing is...
to work at the Newcastle paper?
Absolutely.
Right. And what did you do then?
Well, I only stayed 3 months and I moved to Birmingham, and she was in Newcastle for the next 25 years.
Right.
But she had a great career there.
She's not the one that you went back to meet who you then said was too fat and you walked out of the pub?
Oh, goodness gracious, no. No, of course not, no. But the point of my story is
the point of your story?
I was going out with her at the same time as I had another regular girlfriend in Chester. But it was easy to play the game with both of them because one of them was a secretary down in one part of town, the other one worked in the newspaper business.
It's not a very big town, is it?
No, it's not a big town, but the problem is, if I was
what if the secretary wanted to go to the gang show, for example?
Oh, well, she wouldn't.
You'd have been rumbled.
No, she wouldn't like to do that sort of thing. So, if ever I was caught out with Brenda, I could always say, oh, well, it was business, we're on a job together, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I used to get out of it that way.
You were.
Sorry?
And indeed you were.
Well, I was indeed, yeah, you're right.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Once again, appalling behaviour.
But I tell you what, the gang show was so boring, because it was supposed to go on for an hour and then a break, then another hour.
Yeah.
At the break, we both agreed this is rubbish. We've seen enough here to write a report on anything. And we went off and went to a wine bar, had a few bottles of wine, and then rang up some friendly, counsellor the next day or something. He said, oh, what did you think of the finale? It was marvellous, wasn't it? Absolutely marvellous, And he cottoned on that I'd left and wouldn't speak to me and said, you're a disgrace, I'm going to report you to your editor.
Quite right, too.
Yeah.
Didn't change you, though, did it?
No.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the two mics. Coming up, it's time for winners and losers. Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the two Mikes, and of course, we've got winners and losers coming up now. Now, last week when we had this with the new format where the audience
now
decides
you cheated
who won.
on getting the audience verdict.
No.
Yes, you did.
What happened was I put out a tweet on the two Mikes account which said that you should retweet if you think Porky's won, or you should favourite if you think Mike Graham has won. Right now, apparently, according to some people who just moan all the time on Twitter,
who know these things better.
Well, they say that anybody who puts anything like that out, retweet always loses because people don't like retweeting. And I'm going to prove that wrong tonight because I'm going to make it the other way around.
Right,
okay?
good.
Now, I'm going to prove to you that I just did that purely by accident, right?
Good.
Now, so this time what I've tweeted out is if you retweet, I will win, and if you favourite, Porky will win, okay?
Yeah, bit of justice.
And before we've even started, it's 1-1.
What do you mean?
It's 1-1. People have been retweeted once, and there's one favourite.
But we haven't given any winners or losers yet.
All I'm saying is that it's a completely level playing field. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, obviously, we've got losers to do first, so I'm going to ask you to do your losing 3 nominations first.
Okay. Fine. I tell you what. They are pretty predictable, but I can't see...
Predictable?
But I can't see any other way of doing them because they are so big. There's 1 or 2 strange ones in here, but these are my 3 losers,
Well,
okay?
you've only got 3, so if 1 or 2 of them are strange...
Yeah.
mean?
Okay. First of all, it's got to be, I'm afraid, John Carver, the Newcastle manager. I mean, 6 on the trot now. But, I mean, in a small way, I admire John Carver saying, I'm still up for the fight. I'm not giving in. I'm not throwing a towel in yet,
Is he in Poldark, this guy?
No. That's my Geordie accent.
Is it?
I'll be there for the boys and tell them we got to fight till the end and all that kind of stuff.
That definitely sounds more Exeter, that.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's Geordie.
Okay.
So that's John Carver's the one.
Yeah.
Now, the second one is Marianne Fellaini.
All right.
Because
Marianne, yeah. Marouane.
No,
it's not Marianne.
No, it's Marianne. But now he left Everton to go to Manchester United, the move of his life and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody's, he was a failure in his first season under David Moyes. Everybody said, he's been revived in his career with Louis Van Gaal has revived his career and made him a great... But
hasn't the point been that both Chelsea and Everton have worked out how to snuff him out in a game, and that's why he's incapable of making an impact?
Can I just say, it was much worse than that. What happened was they snuffed him out to the extent where he got terribly frustrated, got himself booked early on in the game, and by half-time, Louis had enough of him and said he's going to get sent off. He pulled him off.
Yeah.
Ultimate loser.
Right.
So Carver... Fellaini. Now the third one,
very obvious. I'm afraid I can't endorse these.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'd be interested to see what yours are because my third one.
Mine are brilliant.
My third one is going to shock you.
Yeah.
My third one is AP McCoy.
AP McCoy.
Why has he retired?
I can't believe you've got AP McCoy.
Why has he retired?
I've got him down as a winner.
I've got him down as a loser.
Right.
Because he's retiring against his own will. It's obvious from a column he wrote in the Times on Saturday, which I read ahead of his last ride at Sandown on Saturday afternoon.
Where he didn't win anything.
Well, he didn't win anything. He came third in both his races. Yeah. And he explained there that he thought it was just about the right time. But he's also going on about, I don't know how I will feel in my last race.
Yeah.
But I do know a year from now it will be a lot worse. Yeah. And what he's saying is he's going to miss racing so much.
But do you not think he's doing it for the good of his body, though?
No, he's not sure how he's going to live with himself.
No.
He's going to be a misery to his wife and maybe his children. He's going to be a misery to those around him. He's simply...
Because he's having to give up the sport that he loves.
Yeah, but he's not having to give it up. Why is he giving it up?
Because he might
Why has he given it up?
He might be doing it because his body just can't take it anymore. I mean, you can't continue to throw yourself on and off horses
but he seems
get injured in the way that he has. He's not young anymore, is he?
He seems to not know why he's doing it himself. He keeps asking himself questions. People ask me why I'm doing it. He tries to explain why he's retiring, and nobody can make any blinking sense of it.
Well,
nobody knows why he's retiring.
Well, maybe that's because he's being forced to retire for medical reasons or something that we don't know about.
Well, I'm telling you, I think he's a loser because I think he's just gone too...
OK. Well, I don't think any of those...
Too soon.
I think all of those are way too obvious.
No, they're not.
Okay?
No, they're not.
My first loser is a man by the name of Stephen Thompson, who's the captain of St Mirren.
Who?
Stephen Thompson.
Yeah.
He's the captain of St Mirren.
Right.
They had a game coming up against Kilmarnock at the weekend, right? Mm-hmm. And they've got a great young player by the name of John McGinn, who's only 20 years old and has been showing great promise playing for them, right?
John McGinn.
On the training ground, this guy, John McGinn, basically... ran rings around Stephen Thompson, couldn't get the ball. He didn't quite nutmeg him, but sort of humiliated him, right? What do you think Stephen Thompson did?
Don't know.
He picked up a pole.
Yeah.
And in a joke, for a prank, threw this pointy pole, which is like a javelin, at John McGinn.
Yes.
Pierced his leg.
Really?
Which may have caused quite severe muscle damage.
Really?
And he was unable to play in the game at the weekend and may be out for the rest of the season. He's now saying, I'm horrified and mortified by the whole thing. It was a daft prank. I threw it for a laugh, stupid me, trying to be funny, and unfortunately it's anything but. It's a total disaster. Plank.
I honestly think that's an irrelevant issue.
Do you?
Completely irrelevant.
Well, I think it's much more funny than any of yours. All right,
completely irrelevant.
Second loser of the weekend, Aaron Ramsey.
Aaron Ramsey.
I don't know whether you follow Twitter over the weekend, but if you did, you would have known that Piers Morgan, your old mentor and so-called friend, was at the Emirates watching the Arsenal-Chelsea game, during which he shook hands with a whole bunch of people, including Jeremy Clarkson, who he made peace with, including Bob Wilson, who's called him some pretty bad names in the past.
Yes,
he went up to Aaron Ramsey. He's in the Diamond Club, right? I don't know if you've been. You go there, don't you? When you go sometimes to Arsenal, and he goes up to Aaron Ramsey and offers his hand to shake it. And Aaron Ramsey says, I don't think I want to do that, and walks away. Refused to shake hands with him.
What's Piers said about Aaron Ramsey in the past?
Well, he's blamed him for playing badly when he's played badly.
Right.
That's basically what he's done.
Right, OK.
And he's been critical of Arsenal, of course, when they haven't done well.
Right, OK. Well, that's a pretty interesting story, but loser, no, not sorry.
You don't think so?
I don't think he's a loser.
OK, well, I don't think you can argue with the next one, and my final loser of the week is you.
What?
You. Biggest loser of the week, because you're now going to have to jump off Bournemouth Pier as a result of a stupid and ridiculously arrogant statement that you made at the beginning of the season that Bournemouth, and you were sure that Bournemouth had not come up. You were absolutely certain you would never have to jump off a pier, and now look what's happened. You've now put yourself not only in mortal danger, you've put our show in mortal danger, you've put, our live show in mortal danger. If you perish as a result of this ridiculous boast of yours, then what am I going to do?
All this makes me a winner.
Does it?
Makes me a winner.
I don't think
Makes me a winner because I'm going to fulfil my obligation.
Well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go onto Twitter, which currently is running at 7-all.
Hang on, we haven't got our winners yet.
Well, I know we haven't, but they can still vote for the losers first.
Okay.
A retweet for me and favourite for Porky. At the moment, it's running at 7-all. So this nonsense about retweet always loses is rubbish.
Right.
Let's hear what the winners are.
Okay.
Go first.
No, you go first.
Oh, thank you very much indeed.
Yes.
Okay, number one.
Yeah.
I want to say a big hello to everybody that ran in the London Marathon, but specifically, I want to say hello to Neil Holloway, to Finchy and Sam, who are three people who ran in the London Marathon. And do you know why they're winners?
No.
Because they ran the whole 26-mile course listening to the Two Mikes podcast.
Excellent, I love it.
And I think that makes them fantastic winners of the week. I can't see how anybody could lose now.
Can't argue with that, except for the fact there were 30,000 other people running in the marathon.
My second one, as you like, is a very, very obvious one. It's Jose Mourinho, not for marching closer to winning the Premier League title, but because he's continued his hoodoo and his curse on Arsene Wenger, who after 13 games has still been unable to beat him, and he's now rubbing his nose in it by saying what's really boring is not winning a title for 10 years.
Okay.
And finally, my third one is all racegoers and other jockeys, because the AP McCoy Appreciation Society can now stand down. We don't any longer have to hear about
Richard
AP
Johnson,
McCoy.
for instance.
We can now look at other jockeys who all do just as dangerous a job as he's ever done, and all racegoers who have been bombarded with this kind of farewell tour that he's been doing for the best part of the last 6 months.
But I'd class them as losers because they're
winners.
They've been in his shadow for so long.
But now they're winners because he's no longer there.
Yeah, but they're only winners by default.
That's my point.
You can't have winners by default.
No, absolute rubbish.
Right, so I'll give you my three winners.
Yeah, go on. I don't think any of them can beat the marathon runners.
Well, I think they can. I've got one that can. Right, first of all, John Terry. I mean, I received my voting form for the Football of the Year award.
Why do you get one?
Because I'm in the Football Writers Association.
Why?
Because I am.
Yeah, but you don't write anything.
Because I'm a renowned sporting journalist.
Rubbish.
You don't have to write these days, mate. You can talk to it down a microphone.
You never could.
Anyway, the point is, John Terry...
So you're in the Football Writers Association because you're a broadcaster?
Yes.
I see.
Yes. And a sports broadcaster of renowned. And so I voted for him because I know John's got a really checkered history, and I know that he's come up against all sorts of problems during his career off the pitch. But on the pitch, he's always been magnificent. He's had a fantastic season. And in my view, should have been amongst the nominees for the PFA award, which was last night.
So have you voted for him then?
I voted for him. I voted for John Terry.
But he's not in it, is he?
No, the PFA was last night.
Oh, right.
You have to have a group of nominees of 6.
Oh, you're
but
not
in the Football Writers, you can vote for anybody you like.
Oh, I see, OK.
Yeah, and it looks...
Well, he's not going to win it, is he?
probably Eden Hazard will win it, but there's a really big lobby for John Terry.
Rubbish.
But anyway, that's point one. The second one...
useless, that one.
No, it's not. It's John Terry. Right, the second one has got to be James Anderson, the cricketer, because exceptional. He's pulled England round now. He's won an overseas test for the first time in 3 years, and he's largely responsible for it. But the third one, and this will win the competition for me. Listen to this, folks.
So
it's
far,
brilliant.
it's 29-15 in my favour.
This will turn it round. Right, Joe Edwards.
Who?
Joe Edwards.
Who's he?
Joe Edwards is the manager of the Chelsea youth team that have just won the FA Youth Cup for the 4th time in 6 seasons. That is the most outstanding record in British football, right?
Yeah.
This guy keeps producing teams of young players to win the FA Youth Cup on a consistent basis.
Why don't any of them ever get into the Chelsea team?
He did it again tonight.
Why don't any of them ever get into the Chelsea
You'll
team?
have to ask Jose that. All I'm telling you is...
Well, there's not much point in winning a competition with a load of young players if none of them end up playing for Chelsea.
He is providing Jose with the bullets when Jose chooses to load the machine gun with the bullets provided by Joe Edwards. They will be there.
Really?
And they will be firing.
It's now
I think that is a brilliant, brilliant winner.
It's now 32-16.
Rubbish. They're voting on the wrong ones. You're pressing the wrong buttons, people.
You see,
Get real.
This proves you, right? This proves... I'm also
Proves you?
I'm told that he only took charge this season, that guy.
So what?
Joe Edwards.
He
hasn't been in charge for the last 4 years.
He's kept a huge tradition going. You know what happens when change comes along? It can often go wrong.
It can, yeah, it's true.
He's kept it going.
Very true. So far, what you've got to do is go onto the two mics. Favourite, if Mr. Parry you think should be the winner, retweet for me. People have said that retweeting never wins, right? Well, I'm sorry to tell you that retweets now number 33-16 for favourite. So,
Rubbish.
That's an absolute nonsense.
Garbage.
So all of you tinfoil hat-wearing maniacs out there who said that I'd somehow gerrymandered it, proved that actually I should be the winner no matter which way round it goes. This is TalkSport.
TalkSport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Freedom for sport.
Can we kick it? Yes, we can.
My obligation to
That's
jump
good.
off Bournemouth Pier
That's good.
or do whatever. Why are you still taunting me?
Well, my job is complete because I was tasked with the ensuring basically that you didn't try and back out of it. Because some people who didn't think that actually you were as good of an individual as you are, as I know you are, deep down, thought that you might try and back out of it. So
not at all.
Anyway, here's a few tweets on the winners and losers. Here's one from Alex. It's not AP McCoy that's a loser; it's horse racing that's losing. Mr. Parry. Here's one from Liam who says, naming Porky Parry as a loser swung it for me. I favourited for Mr. Parry.
Thank you.
Sean says, oh no, hang on, let me read. Here's one from Becky who says, you get my vote, Mr. Graham, for the Jose winner and Porky loser. No gerrymandering today.
What?
All fair and above board. So I just wanted to know that that's the way we are here.
Yeah, well,
Now, let me give you an up-to-date total.
Right, go on.
Hang on, that's the wrong one. Here we go.
Oh, you're just going to fix the figures before you read them
no,
out?
I picked
yeah.
out the wrong
that's
tweet.
the wrong one because
Would you like to read? All right,
Porky's in charge.
read how many retweets and how many favourites.
I can't see from there.
All right, you can't see. 43 retweets, 25 favourites, so I'm still winning.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, you think so.
Yeah.
Right, I'll tell you what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about strippers at Chinese funerals.
Eh?
I'm not joking. I couldn't believe it. Well, I keep a sharp eye on international affairs.
Well, you need to, because the iron ore business is kind of going on in China, isn't it?
Well,
so I suppose you have to keep
it is.
a check
but,
on that.
no, if you want to know the way the world's going, you've got to keep an eye on international affairs. The balance of power, all that kind of
Sure.
stuff. Hillary Clinton up for election as president
It
of
used
the
to be
United
one of
States.
my specialities, actually.
What?
International affairs.
Yeah, international affairs is still one of my specialities. Anyway, what's happened is the Chinese authorities have now banned strippers from funerals in China.
Well, why were they even allowing them in the first place?
Exactly. You say to me, what do you mean, strippers
I
at
didn't think
funerals?
they had strippers in
Oh,
China.
they do, yeah. It's a huge business. And what happens is, because of the way...
What do you mean it's a huge business?
It's a huge
How
business.
do you know it's a huge business?
Because I've
How
studied
many
it.
Chinese funerals have you been to?
I've never been to a Chinese funeral, but I've never been to the Roman Empire Colosseum when it was at its height. But I know all about that.
Yeah.
I research things.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is,
Seems a very odd story, this one.
yeah, no, it is. What happens is that the way you get respect in Chinese society is largely by the number of people who attend your funeral.
Oh, is that right?
So do you get respect when you're alive? Probably not. Do you get respect
Do they have the same kind of... I mean, do they cremate people? Do they bury them? What do they do?
Either.
Do they?
Yeah, both sometimes, or if you see what I mean.
Because, it depends on their religion, I suppose. doesn't it?
It does depend on their religion, you're absolutely right. Sometimes they're floating down a river on a boat or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, the point is, the way you get respect in death, and this reflects on your family standing, is how many people come to your funeral.
Yeah.
Seriously, how many people are going to tip up, you know? So in order to attract more people at the funeral, they've started doing the most bizarre things, you know, giving away alcohol, all this kind of stuff. And the latest...
That sounds mad, doesn't it?
Yeah. The latest is to order strippers to provide the entertainment at the wake after the funeral.
That's
and
terrible,
apparently numbers doubled and trebled at any funeral that advertises, you know, exotic ladies also performing after the service.
That would make me feel quite uncomfortable, I think.
Well, it made me feel very uncomfortable indeed. I don't like funerals at the best of time.
No.
And I don't like the drinking bit after the funeral because I always feel... I don't know. I feel empathy for the dead or something. I don't think I should be.
It surely depends on the person who's died, and it depends on the kind of the occasion itself. I mean, sometimes you can go to a wake, for example, for somebody who's died, and even though it might be a sad occasion, it's sometimes nice to see people you haven't seen for a long time. And sometimes, if it's somebody who's had a long life and lived well, then it's not necessarily a particularly sad occasion either.
Well, yeah, but it can sometimes be very sad. I can't eat at any wake after a funeral because...
Has anyone got anything tinned?
No, because I feel I've been so close to a dead body so recently, I just can't, you know, I can't get my throat to work. I don't like eating food or consuming it. No,
you managed to get a few jars down your throat.
Oh, yeah,
though.
get a few drinks. Yeah, everybody does.
That's okay.
But I mean, for instance, look, it's so poignant, some of them. I go to a funeral of my mate who died at the age of 45. I've told you about him. He took a drop of whiskey after he got out of the shower, collapsed, died. Something in the back of the head. What's it called?
An aneurysm?
Aneurysm, thank you. An aneurysm in the back of his head. So meeting his mother, who was a doctor, was very painful at his funeral, considering that, you know, she herself...
Well, it's quite a young age, isn't it?
Exactly, 45 is very young to die. And she was herself only, you know, probably 70 or something like that, you know what I mean? And, you know, she chatted merrily away about, you know, how much he'd talked about working with you, Mike, and, you know, had a great partnership together. And I felt terrible, awful. I just couldn't eat anything at all, and it was terrible, shocking.
So what did you do? Just drink a few glasses of wine and leave?
Yeah. I was staying over there. It was back up in the Midlands, and I stayed over the night. Yeah, got completely bladdered, completely bladdered. Thing. Because I wanted to get away from the pain and the hurt that this poor woman was suffering. You'd see it in her face.
There was once when I was living in Wiltshire, there was once there was a little village hall in this village, and it was when I had my other dog, you know, the old dog.
It's a funny place for the village hall to be, isn't it?
What, in the village?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you're fine full tonight, aren't you? Yeah, well, anyway, they were having a...
Got him there.
I think you need to be tied down for a bit. Anyway, they were having a wake in this village hall.
Right.
And rather stupidly, they'd left the door open. It was kind of summery, I think. And I was walking with the dog to go and get one of the kids from school, which was also in the village, village school, funnily enough. Yeah. And suddenly, for some reason, the dog wasn't on a lead. I don't know why. But anyway, you saw this door open and
rushed in,
bolted into this room where all these mourners were.
This wasn't the current dog, was it?
No, this is the old dog.
The old dog,
you know, who was similarly sized, huge thing. You know, like he was half wolfhound and half black Labrador. And he ran into this village hall, and all we could hear was screams. And I was thinking, oh God, you know, he's in there.
Did he attack somebody?
No, he wouldn't attack anybody. He was after the food.
Oh, I see.
And there was, you know, clattering noises and chairs going over, plates smashing.
Good God!
And he came running out about 3 minutes later with about 4 sandwiches in his mouth.
No, really?
And I was just like, oh God!
He'd gone after the food.
He's just taken all the food. He's
so
completely.
You just scarpered down the street.
I just grabbed his collar, and I think I must have had the lead in my pocket. And I just went up and I said, I'm really sorry. People were in tears. You know. Well, how could you let your dog? That was terrible. It was very embarrassing.
Attacking people at a funeral.
Well, he didn't attack anyone. He just went after the food.
Yeah, they
and I just said, look, I'm really sorry. And luckily, most of them were from outside of the village. Because you know what's like in these villages.
Just as well they were. You know. Talking about dogs, what were you telling me about coyotes?
Yeah, there was a story in papers over the weekend saying that coyotes are taking over Manhattan.
Well,
this is incredible, isn't it?
You're talking about? I thought coyotes had died out hundreds of years ago.
You know, we complain about seeing foxes and things.
Yeah.
Apparently, coyotes. Well, I guess it's the same reason that they're becoming more urbanised.
Well, what is a coyote?
A coyote is like a wild dog, basically.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, like a dingo dog in Australia.
Well, kind of, yeah.
Wow. And where do they roam around?
And they run around. Well, funnily enough, I've only ever seen them in America, in Connecticut. In my sister's place, Connecticut, once in a while, you would see the odd coyote.
Right.
So there's something very, very scary about if you see a pack of them.
Piercing eyes.
And according to this piece here, they've been spotted amongst the skyscrapers of Manhattan's Upper West Side.
Good God.
Which is where our friend Dermot used to live, without giving his full name away.
Dermot McIntyre?
No, not McIntyre. Don't give his name away.
Dermot Murnahan?
No. He's on television now.
Oh, Dermot.
Yeah, you don't have to give his name.
He's 80 now.
Yeah, he is.
Somebody told me he was.
And he doesn't live on the Upper West Side anymore. But, you know, the Upper West Side of Manhattan, you know, go up Central Park. Don't give his name out. I said don't give his name out.
Come on, he was a famous correspondent.
He certainly was.
Letter from America.
And there's been a spate of coyote attacks on people in the suburbs, right? So what's obviously happening, same as has happened in London with foxes, is they've become less and less frightened of people.
Yeah.
They're more and more tame. They know where the food is, and they've started to come into New York.
Do you realise that for the Coyotes to get into Manhattan, they've had to go over a bridge or through a tunnel?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, well, they could walk over the George Washington Bridge, couldn't they?
I suppose so, but I mean, I didn't know there's no pavements, are there?
Yeah, there's always a little bit down the side you could walk, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a service...
it's like a service thing. And also, they could probably maybe get on a train.
So what?
They could get on a train.
Coyotes getting on trains?
Yeah, you can get on a train, why not?
Well, yeah, but surely the minute a coyote got on a train, somebody pulled the communication cord.
Not if it was an empty carriage.
In case they're getting I suppose so.
If it was an empty carriage, some of those like early morning, late night trains, empty carriages, just, they might have swum over as well. They could probably swim.
He might have swum over.
Don't you think?
And
the problem is, right, the cops...
swimming across the East River.
The cops have got, these now... Some of them have got stun guns and various kind of dart guns to try and get them. But these creatures are so good at getting away that they're actually not killing any of them.
And are they? What are they doing? Eating all the food and all that kind of stuff?
Well, they'll
start attacking people soon.
Well, they will, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been seen in Greenwich Village, apparently. They've been seen in Chelsea, which is that area I was telling you about where I used to have my office down on the sort of lower west side.
I never got on with Greenwich Village.
They've even been spotted on the roof of a bar in Queens. How about that?
The roof of a bar in Queens. My God, that's getting close.
So next time we go there together,
you
might have to be armed with some of those funny teeth to scare them away.
I totally agree. I never got on with Greenwich Village, you know.
Really?
If you go to Manhattan, you want to see big, tall buildings and skyscrapers.
Oh, I love the Village. The Village is great.
I don't. What was the pub we used to go to down there? The Red Lion?
The Lion's Head.
Lion's Head, that's right, yeah.
That's shut down, you know.
I didn't know that, has it?
Well, that's where Jessica Lange used to be a waitress.
That's right, yeah.
Well, they lost their lease. I mean, the problem with New York bars is that, eventually they lose their lease because the landlords try and push the price up to such an extent that they just rip them off. And there's so much...
And then some classy restaurant
my daughter's boyfriend, who was running a restaurant in the West Village, we went there and it was all scaffolding all around it. I said, why have you got so much scaffolding around it? And they started putting Christmas lights. He said, well, they're trying to force us out. So they put scaffolding around the restaurant.
Well, just to intimidate the bar users.
Yeah, and also to try and block off the fact that it's a restaurant.
Good God.
Because they wanted them out because they've got an old lease which wasn't actually making them enough money. So if they could get a new tenant with a new lease, they could make like double the money.
And turn it to a Swiss restaurant.
I mean, you should see the prices of now. I don't know when you were last in New York, but I mean, I was standing outside having a fag outside this particular restaurant in the West Village.
Yeah.
And there was a real estate office right there. And for a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment in the West Village, talking about $3,000-4,000 a month.
Good God.
Incredible.
The rental?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Now, I've got to give you an update on the winners and losers.
Come on,
right?
let's have that.
So far, retweets 45, favourites 27. So I've completely busted this myth that if you put down something to retweet, you will never win.
No, you haven't. It's because you insist on being the voice of this competition.
No.
Therefore, you are the dominant resonance that people hear.
Really?
Yes, the dominant resonance is a well-known psychological factor.
Right.
And dominant...
Is that why you try and monopolise the conversation then?
Dominant resonancy always results in a favouritism towards
I'll tell you what.
The dominator.
Okay, in that case, I'll let you be in charge of it next week.
Okay.
All right, and you can be the one asking the questions.
Yeah, good idea.
And then we'll see whether you win or I win.
Good idea.
And
yeah,
I
we will. Yeah, we will.
That I will win because in the end, they prefer to vote for me because my ideas are better. Now, finally, coming up tonight, we've got Liverpool going to Hull, haven't we? Now,
yes.
Have Liverpool got any chance or any point in even attempting to take fourth position?
No, none whatsoever.
Is it all over?
Even though Everton beat Manchester United, it's an impossible task for Liverpool to get into fourth place now. And do you know what? It's not just that Liverpool are not as good a team now as Manchester United, and they're both pretty average, aren't they, really, for a team finishing fourth place in the Premiership?
Well, I would say at the moment, Manchester United are slightly better than Liverpool.
Yeah, I would. But what I'm saying is, I think a malaise has fallen over Liverpool. I think it's a malaise of... Brendan Rodgers' acceptance of failure this season for not getting into the top four.
Yeah.
I think it's the Daniel Sturridge situation, which has gone from bad to worse today.
He's now not going to play the rest of the season.
Absolutely, gone from bad to worse today. I think it was Brendan Rodgers' reflection on that terribly dull and boring draw at West Brom. And I just think a malaise has settled over Liverpool for the rest of the season. I think the Steven Gerrard situation has become a malaise as well because his career is now...
Have you?
Have I?
Have you? No, you haven't.
No, I don't think I have.
If you love the Two Mikes podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.